You're listening to everyone's favorite show. A show about what makes us tick.
So,
I haven't heard about it. Tell me about it.
So, it's... Jesus, dude. It's from the guy who did Get Out.
Get Out.
Yeah, that's the movie where the little preppy white girl starts dating the black kid in college and then brings him home to her family, and then they have a bunch of black servants and shit around, and he realizes that, like, they're somehow either under some kind of control, and that, like, they baited him out there, you know.
Really?
Yeah, really fucked up shit. So, then this one, spoiler alert for anybody who's planning on seeing that piece of shit, but if you haven't already unfortunately spent money on it, don't.
Save yourself the trouble.
For free. Right, exactly.
You heard it here first, folks.
It's a terrible piece of shit.
Maybe not
Probably
first,
not. I'm sure. I am positive I'm not the first one to say this.
I'm sure there are people who are way more plugged in than we are.
Yeah, exactly.
People
critics. Well, people whose job it is to do this. Yeah, right. So it's not my job.
This piece of shit that I saw this weekend.
So
was it a piece of shit or just pretty bad?
It was. Okay, so all right.
So how long was it?
So I guess you have to look at it like this. I don't know. I never pay attention. A couple hours, normal movie length.
See, that's a grievance. We'll get to that in a minute. I have a grievance about movie lengths these days. But go ahead, as you were.
You think they insist on themselves?
Too long.
They insist on themselves.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, you could have cut a lot of this out. So I agree with that, but I don't mind the long.
Go ahead. Get to the fucking point.
And you could stop interrupting me, and then I'll get to the point. So check this out. So, okay. So there are sometime in the 60s. Did you hear my text? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah. Sometime in the 60s or 70s or something, 50s, I don't know. They started cloning everybody. So underneath the United States, there are abandoned tunnels and shit all over the place. Yeah. And we end up visiting one of these during the movie. But apparently there are abandoned tunnels all over the place, and there are people down there. They act out our lives, but they're doing it like pretend, like fake. Like they cut to a scene where they show this little girl walking down the Coney Island boardwalk, okay? And she's
underground Coney Island boardwalk?
No, they show the girl above ground, normal, regular Coney Island boardwalk.
Okay.
She's walking down the boardwalk, and she looks over, and there's a guy sitting there with his girlfriend eating a cheeseburger and having fun, enjoying themselves and shit like that. And then there's people in the next little restaurant or whatever doing their thing and all this stuff. And then they flash to the scene of the tunnel down below Coney Island where all of these people's clones live, and they're forced to, like, if people up in the real world take a mate, these people are forced to take the same mate. And it's like, they're like, it's really weird. And so then it flashes to the people in the tunnels, right? Eating live rabbits. Like they have an endless supply of live rabbits and electricity, right? They have electricity, they have lights and shit, but they're not cooking the rabbits. They're eating live rabbits, but it's the same guy and the same chick who are sitting there eating a cheeseburger on the Coney Island boardwalk, and their doppelgangers down below, who are exact replicas of them, are being forced to live out the same life down below, like as like puppets, but they're like living in these tunnels and eating dead rabbits and shit.
So, what you're telling... So, a few questions.
That's a premise for a movie.
So, it is a movie, right?
Yes.
So...
I paid money to see it.
Right.
I gave someone real hard-earned money to sit and watch this fucking thing.
They're eating rabbits. So, who's forcing them? Is it the lizard people?
There's nobody running the whole thing, but there's like... It gets weirder. Swear to God, it gets weirder.
Well, I'm sure. I don't want this to be... What was the name of the movie?
Us.
Us.
Yeah.
I thought that was Get Out.
No, Get Out was the one where they brought the kid to the
okay,
farm.
But I didn't. For some reason, I'm now recalling where we switched which movie we were talking about, but I'm kind of like spaced on it a minute. So that's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Live rabbits. They're just like taking a bite. That sounds like almost as bad as the human centipede or whatever.
I have not had the misfortune.
That's a real movie, though.
Yeah, I know. I have.
But I mean, so are the Sharknadoes. I never saw those.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did watch Killer
They made
Clowns from Outer Space and
multiples of
Attack
those.
of the Killer Tomatoes.
Well, of course,
like
we
all
watched,
of those.
Of course, we watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Did you see Attack of the Killer Tomatoes when we rented it at the Hoopert's house?
Yes.
Are we allowed to talk about the Hooperts? Is that allowed?
Yeah, just try.
Are you allowed to talk about people?
Yeah, we can talk about people.
Because I'm always like hesitant to bring up people's
names.
names.
Let's just do first names.
Use first names?
Yeah.
Well, too late on the Hooperts. I already said it. They can rewind it.
Maybe I'll edit it out. I don't know.
Right.
We'll see.
So, anyway.
I mean, we're not really... Yeah, I'm recording, but we're talking.
So now I can't use the first names. So anyway, that's where I saw it too.
Yeah.
And what... There was another one too. The Blob or...
Oh, yeah, The Blob.
The Blob we saw over there.
So, but yeah, movies are too long.
Yeah.
I feel like hour and 30 minutes is ideal.
Yeah, I mean, like for the most part.
Like
yeah.
Forrest Gump was what, 2 hours, 45 minutes or something?
It was a pretty long movie.
And it could have been an hour and 12 minutes.
There was a lot getting covered in there, man.
Look, it's a dumb guy. He meets all these people.
He did a lot of shit, man.
Yeah, they could have done, like, the middle of that movie could have been a montage.
Could have just done, like, a montage, yeah, of him just meeting all the presidents, shaking their hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then cut to him at the Washington Monument.
See, I'm okay with the longer movie. I don't mind.
I don't know. I some movies I can handle.
I don't want to sit through a 3.5 hour movie to theater though.
Right, but it's like now, like the Marvel movies, like all of them are 2 hours and 30 minutes, or
I like that.
Or whatever.
There's a lot happening.
It's
like
okay
it.
here where I can stop, pause it, go out, smoke a cigarette.
Yes, that's the biggest problem.
Take a poop.
Why they don't have piss and smoke breaks in the middle of movies?
I don't know.
No idea.
I mean, let's be honest. If you're gonna make movies 2 hours long, you should be able to smoke in them.
I mean, it's not really how that works. You know, you should be able to shoot up heroin in there. It's like I
don't care. Fine,
I can't go
whatever.
2 hours without.
I don't care what you're doing. Banging H,
I think
snorting blow. I don't care.
You know, I think I might be frowned upon.
Well, maybe, but that doesn't mean that I care.
Yeah.
A lot of people frown on.
Start your own theater, man. It's a private club where people.
Yeah,
can
we'll have a private club.
Great
and we'll call it Mr. Whack-a-Mole.
I've never understood why don't bars do that. Why don't bars just when you walk into a bar?
Well, some of them like VFWs and shit all do that.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like your regular bar.
I don't know.
When somebody walks in, you just sell them a $1 or $5 membership.
Well,
That's the cover charge.
Though, is that you have a lot more. They're gonna make better money throughout with. Especially now, most people don't smoke. I mean,
man, it's still like 30% of the population.
I can understand
adult
why
population
don't some
smokes.
I think it's 13 now.
No way.
Yeah, it's
bullshit. Okay, Google
that shit.
Yeah, well, you know it.
So speaking of smoking, today's 420.
Is it?
Yeah. So if today in history, the first electron microscope was started.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, I do. I got it right here. I pulled it up while I was taking.
Is 420 Hitler's birthday too?
420 is Hitler's birthday.
Yeah. Right.
He was born in 1889, and the Columbine shooting is 420.
Columbine shootings for 420?
Yeah,
that was intentional.
420.99.
What was I looking up?
Yeah, they're probably big fans of Hitler. The percentage of adults
of adults who smoke
in the U.S. Right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah,
we're in the U.S.
I'm sure it'll.
Let's see here. Let me find this again. Today.
Overall, cigarette smoking among U.S. adults aged over 18 declined from 20.9% in 2005. Oh, so last time I heard it was before that. 15.5% in 2016. Yet nearly 38 million American adults smoked cigarettes every day or some days in 2016, according to data released today by the Center for Disease Control.
1770, Captain Cook discovered
38 million adults. How many adults live in 38 million?
Well, you got 330 million, and you're probably about 144 million adults. 160 million adults. 150. I don't know. Take a guess.
So only in 2016, only 15% of people smoked.
Hey,
But how is it that the majority of people that we know smoke? So what does that say?
That we run in a circle of smokers.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's so cultural. It's
not even cultural. I think it's more like manual labor type jobs tend to be smokers.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Is it because those are also people who make other poor life choices? Is it just like this fucking thing?
That's probably. I mean, I have a lot of other.
I guarantee the turnover rates at a bank are a lot less than they are in like construction and labor work.
Yeah, but yeah, probably.
I mean, that's one of the deep rooted fundamental issues that people don't get to, but. it's all through every fucking thing we do, man. You know, our decision making and our expectations for ourselves, and you know, our vision of reality and reaction to life and all that shit is like, you know, big defining factors. But they're like, you know, psychology as a whole is. There's no 2 + 2 = 4 in psychology, you know.
Well, no, and that's the thing. It's, you know, it's part of the same reason that, like, the whole idea of free will is kind of bullshitty, because it's all limited by the circumstances that you've been thrown into,
right,
as well as the choices you've made. I mean, you're free to make a choice, but the choices that are available to you are limited by your circumstances. So you don't really have 100, you know.
Right.
So but I mean, that's kind of a circular argument too, because it, you know. And I don't know where I stand one way or another. I mean, people a lot smarter than me are on both sides of that argument. So.
Yeah, but I think there's a humanitarian aspect that tends to be left out when we're actually talking about conversation about real legislation and like approaching problems like that. I think the two get separated too much. I think you have one side that's full blown humanitarian, and you have the other side that's full blown looking at everything from an economic perspective and really doesn't have much empathy or even understanding of how. I mean, it's like so by the logic that anybody could just pull themselves up by their bootstraps and be successful, by that logic, you're saying that you have to be in some way fundamentally genetically superior to people who don't do as well as you, because if you were in their, but what you're saying is, if you were them and had the same life experiences, looked the same, had the same parents, went to the same schools, had the same opportunities that were out of your control until you were an adult, and then still had to confront all the things that you confront when you come into life with no resources, which means you have to make a lot different decisions because you're worried about paying the bills at the end of this week and not worried about building a fucking empire, you know? So so what they're saying is that they are somehow, there's some essence about them that wouldn't be portrayed in where they come from, where they live, who they are, who their parents were, what kind of money they had, what they look like, what their name happens to be, anything traumatic that might happen to them. They're saying that barring all of that, they could still do better. And to look at the world from that perspective, that everybody can just do it.
Yeah.
Like me, you know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though, is
it's absurd.
I mean, it's not, and that's the thing. I mean, there is a genetic component to it as well. Like,
twin studies, separated twin studies have proven over and over that genetics actually have way more to do with where you end up in life.
Yeah, it has more to do with your behavior and the choices you're going to make and stuff. So.
I mean, absolutely, some of it's environmental, but I mean, you know, I've heard some pretty high numbers on the percentage.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, the thing is it's just we're living in the age where nuance is kind of lost.
We're living in an age
because people want everything to be like the people on this side want to be. Well, I'm totally right because of this, and the people over here want to be I'm right because of that, and they don't. Yeah. And I mean, that's how you end up with like our prison system that we have now, where you know there are people who are literally profiting off of other people being thrown in prison, but they don't have, and those people are. You know, we're not doing the best that we can in that situation where a lot of those people, by throwing a lot of these people in prison for extended term sentences and stuff, you're actually exposing them to an element that's much worse. And you know, and
absolutely.
You're just making them better criminals,
right?
Or lifelong criminals. Right. And it's something where people, you know, I mean, it's just like the prohibition shit. They haven't taken it seriously in this country. The impact that prohibition on drugs is having on all of the
that's because they're all the economical. Here's the problem. Now, here's what keeps us from making progress is everybody looks around and they're like, that's not fair, and that's not fair, and that's not fair, and they want they're more concerned about shit being fair than us doing the right thing. And what their image of fair is or right is to punish people for drug use and keep drug use away from them and their families. You know. The reason why I'm not doing heroin today isn't because it's illegal. Right. You know?
Because I don't want to do heroin.
Right. I made it through my very susceptible years without having been exposed to it. But I'm going to be honest with you. If it had landed on the table sometime between 16 and 20, I probably would have tried it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's when I had a couple of guys, a couple guys that I knew that with some of the other guys I was running around with, through some of the other guys I was running around with overdose when I was like 18, 19 or 19, 20 or whatever. And that was enough for me to be like, yeah, no, I'm good on that.
Yeah,
I don't, not interested.
That was the one thing that
tried a little bit of everything else, but I mean, that's the
you
thing.
never hear about anybody dying from coke or acid or mushrooms or anything like that, but you hear about people dying from.
Well, you hear about people dying from coke, but they're usually mixing it with methamphetamines and.
Right. Well, nobody that I know, but you hear about
like
heroin
that,
overdoses all the fucking time.
Yeah, it's real bad right now. I mean, the heroin's really bad. The crystal meth's bad in Indiana, especially in a lot of rural areas. Because. It's in rural areas, it's easier to manufacture because it's easier to find somewhere to hide where people aren't going to see you.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody's going to.
Yeah, and the fucking war on drugs is all.
And then all the kids up there are bored. All you got to do is drugs and fucking.
All the chaos that we are encountering at our southern border right now is all a direct effect of destabilized communities and countries because of the drug trade.
Yeah.
And look, people aren't fucking. Did we talk about this last time?
No, I don't.
I feel like we did.
I don't.
But people aren't killing each other for tomatoes.
It doesn't matter. We're not using that shit
Right.
from.
Okay, good.
The last time doesn't exist.
Okay,
so
sweet.
We just started from scratch. So.
Awesome. So people aren't out here killing each other for fucking tomatoes.
Right.
Well,
this dude, Daryl Perry, who tried to get the Libertarian nomination for president. He said he wanted everything to be as legal as tomatoes.
Oh, yeah?
And
really?
that's what the big part of the point is,
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, that's, I'm an anarchist. People want to call me a utopian or whatever, and I'm not a utopian because I understand better than most people do. I mean, I just realized if you use violence and force, you're going to be making criminals out of a lot of people just because it offends other people. Yeah. And that's what the drug war really is.
Yeah. Right.
That's what's allowed it to perpetuate. I mean, it started as a scheme, to try to throw away people, or, throw people in jail who were anti-war, and to throw like the Black Panthers, all these other groups, the people who wanted to end segregation. It started as a plan to throw these people in jail, and it's been perpetuated by the fears of Puritans ever since. And, and now we've got the same deal. Now people are starting to get offended by words and shit, and they want to shut people down. And I mean, come on, man. Don't be a pansy.
Yeah, that's
right. The biggest problem is people don't mind their own business.
The conversation is to have a conversation.
Yeah.
People. It needs to just get to the point where I got to take responsibility for my shit. That I'm not going to let something as simple as how many words does the average person say in a day?
Oh, I have no idea.
Like tens of thousands or some
Probably.
crazy shit. I think it is. I think it's in the 20,000 range or some crazy shit. 20,000 words a day, and 6 or 8 that one dickhead who doesn't know me says. I'm gonna let get me so fucking tilted,
Yeah.
That I've either got to take some kind of action, or I've got to, I don't know. I mean, I just can't imagine letting a few words that some dickhead says. And then I've got to be realistic about the fact that if I want anything that resembles freedom of speech, that means that for every fucking buddy,
Yeah, and I mean that's a conversation that's people are having trouble with right now too.
Yeah, they are. I mean, people think freedom of speech only applies when they're not offended. That's not how that works.
Oh, here, check this out. This is from 2013, just to be safe. Well, no, here's a new study. Okay, so there was one in 2013 that said women speak 20,000 words a day and men speak 7,000.
Holy shit.
But then I see there's a University of Arizona study from a year later that says that it's not true.
I think it depends on what the guy does for a living, too.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're a motherfucking mailman, you spend 9 hours a day by yourself, you probably speak less words than some dickhead who works in an office or in a bank or,
Yeah.
I don't mean that everybody who works at offices or banks are dickheads, but you tend to get a lot of, fake tans and spiky hair and
right. It doesn't
smooth talkers and shit.
It doesn't make you a dickhead per se.
No, it doesn't. But there's a higher likelihood that you're a dickhead.
Oh man, I met plenty of dickheads in my life.
Yeah, right. So exactly. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah,
I've been in construction for.
It really doesn't matter what you do.
20 years now, in some form or another.
But yeah, no, it doesn't matter what you do. There are dickheads everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just more obvious.
It's like 20% of people are going to be huge dickheads.
I'd say solid
80% will be okay.
And that's the thing. Most people are pretty cool, man. Most people are like kind of center-ish politics-wise, and kind of willing to do a reasonable amount to help other people, and don't mind giving some of their paycheck to make sure that old people have health care, and that people are fed, but the problem is that the centrists aren't passionate enough about it, or I'm not going to say they're not passionate enough about it. I'm going to say that their message doesn't speak to enough people because they split between parties. So,
the problem is,
who we have running our government is a lot of people who are pushing a very extreme left and a lot of people who are pushing a very extreme right. And those are the people who are getting elected because they're not because they are who they are, but they're as far away from the people that I don't like as possible.
Yeah, well,
and they're going to oppose one another.
Yeah, I don't know about.
I don't feel like we have a lot of centrist politics going on.
I think the problem is that it's all centrist.
I don't think any of it is.
It's all centrist that hovers in this really, because the thing is though is that even the people who have been, let's say, because there are very few like really far left people in politics. Like, I mean, you're American and even
I don't know about that.
And even in
maybe the ones we're hearing from.
Well, in the United States, you have a few people. I mean, you're hearing the people you're hearing about now, the left on the American left, which is pretty centrist, really, for the most part, compared to other countries. The people you're hearing from are pushing more progressive and so-called democratic socialist policies and stuff.
Why are we using the word socialist still? It's not social. Socialism is when a government runs all industry. That's not what we're talking about doing.
Well, that's the thing. That's why they've.
Why are they using that word?
They've done the qualifier by changing it to the democratic socialism the last couple of years. But all it is, it's the same thing that they have in Sweden and Norway. It's a state, a capitalist society,
still capitalist, right?
With big social programs. They
right.
spend a lot of money on social programs. So
right.
I mean, it's not technically socialism, no,
but
it's whatever. And but the whole point I'm making, it's more progressive type stuff, whatever. But my whole point is that there are very few of them who are really pushing that, and the reason, because the people who've been up there who you've been hearing some mumblings about like expanding Medicaid and this and that and everything for the last few years, those people are still voting for big wars, and they're still allowing the drug wars to continue because they could all end it tomorrow if they wanted to. And
I think it's that they genuinely don't realize the damage is being done.
No, I don't. Well, maybe some.
I think some of them think they're doing the right thing, or they are looking out for the interest of the people who are running the show.
And I mean that's
a lot of that.
That's a whole nother discussion. That was
part of that came up in the us discussion.
Yeah, but how many people are lizard people?
Huh?
I mean, the lizard people are running the show.
So check this out. And
by lizard people, I want to clarify. I don't think that they're actual lizards, but for lack of a better term and being able to do the us versus them, for this sake, the them is the lizard people, and the us is the us.
Yeah.
But not the us that are eating rabbits underground.
Yeah, not those us.
Right, we're the other us's.
So check this out. So in this movie, all these people who can't figure out how to cook a fucking rabbit, right? Okay.
Right. So why can't they figure out how to cook a rabbit? Are they not allowed to have fire?
No, they can't talk either. They're like
oh, so they're like
it's really weird.
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah. So anyway, so they emerge from underground one day, all of them, in this planned attack, okay?
Yeah.
Remember Hands Across America?
Yeah, Hands Across America.
There's this weird thing. This is the twist of the whole movie that happens at the end of the movie. So anybody who doesn't want to know that, just don't listen to me. Nobody's going to listen to this shit. So listen.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Exactly. What am I worried about?
Pretty much feel free to say whatever you want.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to spoil for like
three people,
right? Exactly. I'm going to be getting death threats and shit. So
they'll be like, fucking Gooch ruined it for me.
Yeah.
Where's that motherfucker?
Oh yeah. So, two of them switch places. Okay, one of the underground people and one of the they accidentally switch places.
Accidentally?
Right? When she was younger.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Well, no, the girl from underground took the girl from above ground, grabbed her, drug her down underground, tied her to a bed, and then went above ground.
Yeah.
And then
so they didn't accidentally switch places. The one from underground.
Well, no, but it's not.
To do it.
Wasn't like supposed to happen, right? But I don't know how that worked anyway.
So we don't really know how much.
It was just a happenstance that they met one another.
Yeah.
Right? So, the little girl who was from above ground was wearing a Hands Across America shirt. Okay, so then she gets down there and she's stuck down there somehow. She can't get out. I don't know, but she plans this Hands Across America thing with all the us's, with all the underground people. Uh-huh. So they emerge at the same time. Check this out. Get this. Every one of them wearing a red jumpsuit. And every one of them carrying a big-ass pair of fucking, like, brass shears.
Okay.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Matching jumpsuits and shears.
All the underground people.
All the underground people. I said, who the fuck got rich off of this deal? Somebody, all the underground people. There's one for everybody. So in America. So 380 million pairs of fucking brass shears. Somebody had to pump those out, you know.
Wait,
and who paid for this shit?
So
and the jumpsuits?
Is it just in America, or does the whole world have underground people?
I think it was just America. It was an American science army.
And then they're all in like red Adidas jumpsuits and shit.
They're just like straight up red, like mechanical guy jumpsuits.
Oh, like mechanics, like
or orangish or red. I think they're red.
Yeah.
And they have these shears. So who's producing them? Who the fuck made 380 million jumpsuits?
I
Red
think
jumpsuits,
it was only
varying sizes.
It was probably only 330 million.
You think?
Yeah. So I mean that makes it a little more reachable.
I think the kids came out too.
Right? Yeah, well, that's not what we have. Is 330 million people
330?
or something. In
I thought it was more like 360.
Maybe it's
something.
360. Hell, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's too many fucking people for me. That's all I know.
330 still 330 million. You know.
I mean, I might know 100 people.
That's absurd.
Right? Yeah. So.
I was just thinking the other day, like Swanson Speed Squares. I had to buy another fucking Speed Square.
Yeah. How many of those have you had?
I swear on my left ball, I bought at least 8 of them.
Yeah.
In my working since I've owned a business.
Yeah.
And 4 of those have been since I've worked with the guys I'm working with now for about the last 2 years.
Yeah, I've probably bought 12 or 14 over the years.
So how is that fucking possible? How is Swanson making 4 squares for every fucking construction? Is somebody coming on job sites and stealing them and taking it back and melting them down?
They've got
repackaging
the Speed
them?
Square elves.
Yeah, no shit, they have to.
Speed Square gnomes.
They have to.
They come
they're
out.
Taking it back, they're polishing them up, putting
yeah.
them in a new wrapper, throwing them back on the fucking
Step
shelf.
1, you make Speed Square. Step 2, you steal it back. Step 3, you sell Speed Square. Step 4, profit.
How is that possible? I mean, how is that possible? Where are all these Speed Squares?
Well,
Where
they always end up.
are they going?
The funny thing is that they don't take them all back. A lot of them probably are.
Not attics, maybe crawl spaces.
But mine show up all the time. Like I'll go buy a new one, and then 3 weeks later, the old one will show up.
I'm pretty sure the guys that work with me just like see something like, oh, I had one of those.
Maybe maybe somebody uses it for a lot of art or something. They're making it.
Yeah, they're gonna make a giant Speed Square sculpture.
Yeah, they just melt it down, and we'll make a.
But how is that possible? I had to buy another one the other day. They're only $10, so it's not that bad. They're right in that price range, but I mean...
Well, it's the same with the combo squares. I'm losing combination squares all the time. I probably bought 20 in the last 2 years. I'm not even playing. They just disappear constantly.
God.
Indeed.
I mean, where are they going? Somebody's got to just be, like, stealing this shit, like, willy-nilly. There's got to just be, like 1 out of every 4 construction guys thinks it's acceptable to just steal everybody's shit. Pencils?
It just doesn't.
Where the fuck are my pencils going, man?
Oh, well,
I'll buy a whole box of pencils. I could use 3 of them shits, man.
Pencils, they're garbage.
Garbage.
I love pencils though.
You need them.
Yeah, you gotta have pencils.
There's nothing worse than being on a fucking job site and not being able to find a pencil.
Right.
That'll drive you insane.
It's horseshit.
It's horseshit.
Say it again.
It's
horseshit. So, any hooser. Yeah. So, what's your favorite thing? What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
Yeah.
My official answer is Happy Gilmore.
Okay,
because I've seen it more times than any
So
other
check
movie.
this. So that would tie into. I was gonna ask. One of my questions was gonna be, what's your favorite movie in which the lead character's name's in the title? So that would fall into Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore. Yeah.
But what about the Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
It's way better than Happy Gilmore.
I mean,
Happy Gilmore is pretty funny, but
Happy Gilmore's like, I've seen it so many times, it's like background noise. Like
right.
I'm just like having the conversation with them in my head. Someplace. I mean, I've literally seen it.
Like you could turn it on and then still give like full attention to the porn on your phone.
Right, exactly. And not skip a beat. Right, exactly. Yeah.
So it'd be like, right. It's just a one.
Oh well, I used to turn it on before I went to bed every night. So I've seen the first 10 or 15 minutes.
It's like 12 million times.
Oh yeah, hundreds. Literally for months and months and months.
Hundreds.
Literally hundreds.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I use a fan for background noise.
Yeah.
I occasionally fall asleep with the TV on.
It's other movies sometimes. I try to turn it was Year One for quite a while.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
It's been Game of Thrones for about a year now, probably. Yeah. Almost every night.
A lot of people are loving Game of Thrones. Have you seen the last couple of episodes?
I've seen the last one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you saw the first episode of the new season?
First episode of the new season.
I thought the second one was out already.
The second one comes out on Sunday.
So it's only 8 episodes for the final season?
Is it?
Yeah.
It was only 7 episodes. I think it was only 7 episodes in the
last season.
Last season. Yeah.
Jeez, man, that's lame.
Man.
Too short.
God, there's so much that has to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have a feeling a
have you seen
lot
the
of
last
people.
one?
No, man, I haven't seen it.
Oh, you
I have a
haven't seen it?
feeling a
God,
lot
you
of
can't talk
people
about it?
are
What
going to
the
be.
fuck?
I got a
You
feeling.
need to take a break. You need to watch it.
A lot of people are going to be pissed. So
What about how it turns out?
Probably, yeah.
Well, I mean, we know from the end of the last season, if you haven't watched up to the end of season 7, that's your own goddamn problem. So it's been out for like 2 fucking years or something, 1.5 years. So we know at the end of last season, about John and what's her face, and then John's back. I'm really curious to see, and then obviously. Well, I can't say any more without saying too much, but yeah, I'm curious to see how that whole thing plays out.
Yeah.
What the reaction is from everybody involved when they find out that John and Daenerys are
hooked
related.
up or whatever. Wasn't he riding a dragon or some shit?
He rode a dragon.
About it.
Yes, he rode a fucking dragon. So yeah, it's pretty wild. It's a lot's gonna have to happen if it's only, you say it's 8 episodes for the last season.
I could be wrong. I think they said there were 6 remaining. I thought 2 were out, so it's probably 7.
Fuckers. Yeah, there's a lot that's gonna have to happen in the next 6 episodes. This first episode was more just like filler, catch up. Where's everybody at? Where's everybody kind of. Where's everybody going to be when the shit hits the fan?
Well, and that's what I heard too, is that people had gone back and watched the end of the last season to catch up, and then they spend like a huge portion, amount of time recapping everything and trying to get you back up to date on the story.
Yeah, right.
So it's a waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, if you know the characters and you have a good idea of what's going on, there are some specific surprises that we get that were preempted,
I'm looking at an article right now where they say that the headline is, "Will Jaime Lannister be the next to die on Game of Thrones? Here's the new evidence."
New evidence?
I don't know. I'm not going to read
Jaime's
it.
going to die, man. He's trying to turn good. You can't kill him.
Well, he's got to die eventually.
There's so many theories, though.
All the good people. Ned Stark was like kind of decent, and he died the first season.
Yeah.
Sorry if you haven't watched the first season of Game of Thrones. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catch the fuck up.
Right. Get with it. It's only been on for like 20 years.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see.
I haven't seen anything past the end of season 4.
out.
I mean, I've seen a few bits here and there and random episodes, so I kind of know some of what happens later,
Past season 4?
Yeah, but I don't really care.
Fucking maniac.
I mean, I'll watch it. I don't care if the story's ruined because it's not. Whatever,
It is the fucking greatest cinematic work in history.
People say that about everything. Except for...
No, they don't say that about everything. Trust me.
I just said that the other day about...
what?
Let me think.
The Flash?
No. It was...
I did watch that, though, actually. It was me and the kids.
The series?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it. No, it was something else. Man, it was something real important. Some real cultural shifting.
Was it older
movie.
or new?
It was older-ish. Can't remember what it was.
Man.
Oh, well.
Was it a movie?
That was a movie.
Avatar.
No, that was not that good of a movie. I
It
didn't,
got a lot of acclaim when it first came out.
Yeah, but I didn't like it. It was something real important. Like, I don't know. Fuck, whatever. Who cares? It was something like, I think it was The Jerk.
The Jerk?
Yeah. Steve Martin,
Yeah.
The Jerk. Amazing movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that.
It was probably actually Happy Gilmore. Whatever.
No, man. It's up to like...
So this started...
It'll be 50 hours or something by the end of the season or something like that?
So this started with me asking you about your
movie.
favorite movie, and you start talking about Game of Thrones.
Oh, man,
it's
that's
not
what
a
I'm
movie.
into.
It's a series.
It's still the greatest cinematic work of all time. You couldn't squish all that shit into a fucking 2.5 hour movie.
I thought you were like a big fan of Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. What's some other shit
it's funny.
What's some other shit you've watched way too many times?
Oh, God. Tropic Thunder so many times.
That movie
Scarily
is pretty
large number of
hilarious.
times. That's another one I went to bed to for a while.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
The movie is
Robert
hilarious.
Downey Jr. man was
Amazing. I swear that was his best role ever.
Oh,
you know what? He's
probably.
really come into his own though, man. Because in the Avengers movies and stuff like that, he's believable. He's funny.
Yeah.
You know, he plays off the other characters really well. His timing is fucking
Yeah,
amazing.
he did the Sherlock Holmes movies, and while they weren't terrible, they were just kind of cheesy.
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, they were. But you know what? When I remember when that first one came out, that it was something a little bit different though.
Yeah,
Slightly,
it was.
It had a different feel.
It's just like that was all that kind of genre movie's been overplayed or whatever.
Yeah, it has.
So here, check this out. I heard somebody talking about Days of Thunder. The other day.
Yes.
And it was. I was listening
classic.
to Nick Searcy doing an interview with
I don't know
Michael
who that
Malice.
person is.
Have you seen Justified?
No.
He's been in a lot of movies. But
Justified? Oh, was he the guy that was he in
sure.
Casino back in the day? Remember that show on USA Casino or?
hell, I don't know, man. You have to IMBD him. I don't
What's
know
his
what
name?
all he's been in. Nick Searcy. It's like Searcy, I think.
I think I am.
But anyways, I heard him talking about that, and then I watch it and realize that John C. Reilly is in it. And John C. Reilly is like
What?
is that old driver buddy who is Dustin Duvall's buddy or friend.
Oh, yeah.
Or Robert Duvall's friend.
I'm not. No, I don't know who the fuck Nick Searcy is. I think I recognize him, but
But yeah, John C. Reilly played like a serious role in that movie.
Oh,
and
yeah?
then became John C. Reilly, who does nothing serious anymore. It's
no,
all,
John
like,
C.
real
Reilly
stupid.
is a fucking just. He's just a basket case. He's
Oh my God! Have you seen the Foot Fist Way with
no.
it's what's his name? That guy is in all the movies you like. Remember
Will Ferrell?
No.
Oh,
the,
no.
The guy who was in that movie with Will Ferrell. You know what I'm talking about. Danny McBride.
Danny McBride.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. That's another movie I've seen too many times. That made me think of
The
This Is the End. Have you seen This Is the End?
I don't know.
It's got a bunch of famous people. It's got Jonah Hill and Danny McBride.
I've heard about it.
and
I haven't seen it.
James Franco.
But he was in that other movie. That he remade where they went to the Land of the Lost or whatever.
Yeah, The Land of the Lost.
Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was fucking weird.
Yeah, it was weird. It was funny though. I mean, Will Ferrell's shit is like it's like novelty. It's like it's like a pet rock. You
Yeah.
know, it's like a movie with Google eyes slapped on it. You know, it's just silly and dumb and like.
Right.
I mean, okay, if the point of if you want the point of what you watch to be educational and shit, watch fucking Discovery Channel or something. But
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that's not at all what he's ever bringing to the table. It's just like I'm entertained for a couple hours. I laugh at a couple of stupid things. It's like one slight step above Dick and Fart, but it's like right there,
Yeah.
with immature guy humor. you know?
Okay, moving on from movies.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to smother in gravy?
Biscuits, man.
Yeah.
Biscuits or gravy cannot be
Biscuits. I think I don't know,
I
man.
like chicken fried chicken or
chicken fried steak is
Yeah.
what my answer is.
Yeah, I'm into
But
that,
then
too.
sometimes like crispy hash browns
Yeah.
and a couple of over easy eggs with some gravy on top of it.
Yeah, that actually sounds
that's
pretty
some good shit right there
Yeah,
too.
I used to get omelets. Remember what was the name of that place, the Four Seasons that used to be over there on Shadeland?
Yeah, Four Seasons.
I used to get a big ass skillet from them with like potatoes and all kinds of shit in it, and then tell them bring
Just
me
get
a
it
side
smothered
of
in
gravy, and
gravy.
just pour gravy on that
Fuck
shit.
yeah,
Dude, God,
man. I think we
you
might.
can't eat like that forever though.
I think that when we get done recording this, we're gonna have to go get some. We'll go somewhere with
skillet with
24-hour
biscuits and gravy
breakfast
on
and get some
or with gravy on it.
gravy and hash browns and fucking eggs.
Shit.
Oh yeah,
God damn it.
Smother that shit.
Oh, it does sound delicious.
Yeah,
I love to eat.
So that's good to know. So what is a biscuits or chicken fried? It can vary, huh? It varies. But it
but
depends
I
with
do
mood.
love biscuits and gravy.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to bitch about?
Oh my God. Work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to bitch about work.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to bitch about customers, you know, and kind of forget from their perspective sometimes. But some customers are just genuinely pains in the ass. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I try to see that. I kind of pride myself in seeing how like closely people look at things, and you know how particular or picky they're going to be, or flip-floppy on decisions, because that has a big impact on how smoothly jobs go as a customer being able to make. And
everybody knows the Gooch is a contractor.
Yeah, general contractor.
So he does a lot of, he gets tied up with a lot of and things including carpentry, plumbing, electrical, design, tile, flooring, blah 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 blah, all that stuff. So
yeah, if it's house stuff, we get our hands into it one way or another. I mean, we sub a lot of work out, but I mean, the most difficult part of any of those jobs, it would be so much easier for a guy like me to call me and say, "Hey, I need a fucking driveway right here," and I go out there and pour him a driveway.
Yeah,
you know?
But as a GC, that's one of the things though is that people don't realize is that you don't have to have a good working knowledge of pretty much every phase and aspect of construction. You've got to be able to work with your guys. You got to be able to identify the skills the guys that you have and work within that, and then find help in other places where it's needed.
Right.
And you've got to know how to manage the expectations of your customers to make sure, because most contractors are trying to do the right thing and trying to make people happy and trying to just make a living and treat their guys right and stuff. The problem is that a lot of guys get a bad name and a lot of people get a bad taste in their mouth with a contractor just over a poor management of expectations. You know, they're over promising and it's really hard to deliver.
Right.
So, but that's one thing you seem to be able to balance out pretty good most of the time.
Yeah, one of the hard things can be telling a customer no.
Yeah.
You know, but you can really get yourself in a corner by refusing to tell a customer no. But you have to be realistic about what's possible, what's feasible. You have to be honest and realistic about pricing. Price is the biggest motivator for most people.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell anybody no but my wife, but that's only because I had to sleep in the same house out there.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you can't be afraid to tell people no, and ultimately, I think that gains trust in our relationship when I can look them right in the eye and say, "You need to do that. This is your part. This needs to be done, and no, this isn't realistic. And if you do want this done, this is realistically what it's going to take to accomplish that. If you're willing to pay me for that, I'll do anything. I don't care. But I'm not going to tell you, oh, that'll be about $1,000, and then sit down and put. I don't like doing off the cuff numbers.
Yeah.
Customers all the time are like, oh, what do you think about that? No idea, no clue, because they're going to try and hold you to it, you know. And so I like to sit down and actually do a full material list of everything, all phases of what I think it's going to take to accomplish a job, and then. Figure out each individual project, and like you said, figure out what guys I have or what another contractor is going to have to come in and do, and figure out what that's going to cost. And then I have to make some money at that, at the end of the day. But ultimately what the customer gets is an experience with remodeling their house that is as hands-on as they want it to be.
Yeah.
They can give me the information and I will turn out a product and they will be happy and satisfied, or they can be more involved in the process, and we can accommodate that too.
Right.
And I think that's why, that's why we have happy customers.
Yeah.
That's why we, and that's our mission statement basically. Is providing you with an experience that is as easy on you as it could possibly be.
Gotcha.
And so we organize all the different little things, getting the other contractors in to give bids and to do the work and to line everything out and get them paid, and to people who want a big project done, it's usually worth it to them to pay somebody like me to make sure that all the things are landing the way they're supposed to, instead of, I've run into a lot of situations where you have people who have never really done a lot of remodel work, get into it and try to become remodelers. And there's a fundamental process that you only get through experience that they have no understanding of, and things get chaotic. And then when you have people back and forth and in and out, it makes your contractors unhappy. They're not able to show up and do their job. When I was a contractor, when I show up and I give you a bid to frame this room and frame this and do this and hang this drywall or whatever, I do that to come in and accomplish that job. But if I have to keep on coming back and going back out and doing a little piece at a time because you're not ready and all this stuff, then I would just assume not work for you. Or I have to bill you for extra time.
I mean, that's the thing, too, yeah. The big problem with people getting too involved in their shit is that in the long run, it ends up taking longer.
And it costs them more,
right?
Right,
you spend more time trying to do it, and
It's worth it to them to pay us to have this be a very streamlined process.
Right.
We know people. We get a deal from a drywall guy that you're not going to get that a homeowner's not going to get from a drywall guy if they just call him over to their house.
Well, because you're using the guy multiple times a year, and so you're getting
knows he's actually got some competition.
Yeah, you're getting pricing him for bulk because you're using them so often.
Exactly.
And the same with all your other material.
So ultimately, I mean, really, if I was going to pull a major remodel project and I didn't know what I know and can do what I do, but I do know what I know about how jobs go on both sides of that fence, I would absolutely call a general contractor to run my job. Yeah. There's no question about it. The thing that people need to remember is that you get a solid estimate for very specific work. Right. And if that work changes, then hopefully your contractor is going to engage you and tell you what's changed, what the actual change is going to be, what we're looking at monetarily, be able to explain himself, give you another estimate that you can respond to by email so that everybody keeps all their ducks in a row. I've always prided myself in the last bill I hand you is going to equal up to exactly what you thought it was going to equal up to.
Right. And that's the important thing for people to understand if you're thinking about getting into contracting or you're looking for a contractor. Either way, a handshake isn't the way to,
get email responses.
For everybody's benefit and for posterity. Email and stuff back and forth. Get an itemized estimate and make sure that the bill's itemized too, and then check those against each other. And if some new stuff came up, there should be a change order added to that.
Right.
And then that way you understand exactly what you're getting the whole time. If you really know someone, if you know a contractor well and you have a job where there's going to be a lot of unknowns, and a time and material thing is probably going to have to happen in some situations. But for the most part, if you're doing a regular home repair or you're getting some cabinets installed or a built-in or something like that, it's going to be pretty straightforward. The guy can give you an estimate that's itemized beforehand, and there should be no surprises. That's going to help you have an enjoyable experience with the contractor.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're getting.
Because like I said, most of them are good guys, and they're hardworking dudes, and they've been... being a contractor's, it takes a lot of balls to step out there and do it. I hate to hear of contractors getting a bad name because I work with so many guys who are really good. But
then there are contractors out there that are shady as fuck.
Yeah, there are. But it's the
we
same
just
as
did a
anything,
job. We just
we
finished a job.
You don't hear people talking. That's the thing though, is that 250 million or 250,000 people are killed every year by medical accidents. But you don't hear people talking shit about the entire medical profession all the time because of it.
Yeah.
People understand that we're people and we make mistakes. I hear a lot of people who are shitty about contractors.
Well,
and I think it's about the same.
I think the problem is that when somebody does a good job, it's like, our work got done. That should be the baseline. Yeah. A good job where everybody's happy and they got what they paid for. When you go to the grocery store, you don't have to fucking wrestle people for lettuce.
Yeah.
You don't have to, you go in, you know what you're getting, you pay X amount of money for it, you're prepared for that, you get to make the decision as to whether or not you want to pay that money or not. And then you get your shit and you go home. So a good job done well and complete should be the standard. So anything below that, the contractor doesn't deserve to be paid full price, if at all.
Yeah.
And anything above that, people will blush or be vocal about a good experience.
Yeah.
But when you're just in here doing work and you're getting the work done, word of mouth isn't always, it's not going to happen nearly as much as if you fuck something up.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is bad word spreads like wildfire.
Yeah, it does. I mean, people aren't going around saying, oh my God, I had this amazing contractor. Oh my God, he did a great job. He got us in under budget. Have you ever heard of a contractor getting somebody in under budget?
Yeah, it happens occasionally.
Yeah, but it's not a lot though.
Yeah, not a regular occurrence.
Right.
But you would think that more, I don't know, you would think that nowadays... it's still the same. Like if you go to look at Yelp and stuff, you see good reviews, but the ones that more people are reading are the really shitty reviews.
Oh yeah, I go to Speedway 100 times or fucking 100 times a week. I'm stopping and grabbing cigarettes, gas, or something to drink. And I literally go to Speedway. I'm not kidding. If I'm being literal, it's probably 100 times a month. But seriously, and never written a good review. of the thousands of times I've walked in there, I've gotten my beverage. I went up. The fucking teller was nice, and they were sweet, and they gave me my shit. I've never once written a good review or stood there and had a conversation with somebody about, man, the people at Speedway are so fucking courteous.
Right.
You know? The pizza's always hot. You
Yeah.
know? I don't eat gas station food, but you know.
Well,
not
that's
anymore.
not true. You
Not
used to
anymore.
eat the tornadoes.
Not anymore.
What are they?
Yeah.
Are they tornadoes or
Tornadoes.
tornadoes?
Yeah, man, they're like little meaty mystery meat wrapped fried things.
They're little like
you can't beat that.
taquitos.
Yeah, exactly.
kind of.
But a little thicker. They're
Yeah, a
pretty
little
sweet.
thicker.
So
He likes them
anyway,
thick.
never once put a good review on there.
Yeah.
So I go in there not long ago, and at this one particular Speedway, they have the one rack rolled back and the door right there, and it says come back here for like cases of cold water, right? So I go back in there, and because my beverage of choice wasn't on the shelf, but I could see it through the little racks back in the back. So I go back in the back, and I'm like moving a couple boxes around and getting my own shit, and this guy walks back there and like gets really pissy with me, you know. I'm like, man, the fucking door was open, you know. He's like, yes, to come here, blah, 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 you know. So then we go back up front, and he was just being kind of a dick, and so then we go back up front, and you know, often the right thing to do is nothing. You know?
But you didn't do
I
that.
chose the other way. So, so then we're standing there, and the other guy's checking me out, and I said, well, you know, if you did a better job stocking your coolers, I wouldn't have to go back there and get my shit, you know? And he fucking flipped the fuck out on me, man. You know, he lost his shit. He started screaming and yelling. He's like, fuck you, you know, screaming at me.
Damn.
And,
Was he the manager?
He said he was. I said,
okay, cool.
he said something about my store, my shit. And I was like, this is your shit? I was like, damn, you know? And he was like, nah, but I'm the manager and shit like that. So obviously immediately I fucking give him a bad review, you know?
Yeah.
And,
but you never gave a good review all this time you've been going there.
Right. Never given a good review out of thousands of positive interactions, and one dickhead.
You should have just called the district.
I instantly, before I even got out of the parking lot, fucking got on and fucking gave them a bad review.
Yeah.
Yes.
On what? Which? On what?
I think it was on Yelp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put Speedway gas stations on Yelp, like each individual one on there or something.
No, I think it was probably a
just
corporate
Speedway total. See, what you
thing,
should have done is called his district manager and been like, "Hey, man."
Yeah, I thought about that, but then I don't want a guy to lose his job.
Whatever. He's not going to lose his job. They're going to be like, "Hey, some asshole customer called and said this. Try not to,
right?
You know,
yeah,
piss off everybody in the neighborhood if you could."
Yeah, exactly. But that's the point. You know, when I'm pissed off, I'm going to take action. I want to do something about it, and I want to tell everybody about it. Then I went to work and told everybody about this. Or where was I going after that? I had a meeting after that. I went and I told everybody the story about that. You know, about this dickhead who screamed at me. You know, and but I didn't. I've never taken the time to tell him that about all the nice, sweet people at Speedway smiling and giving you your shit.
Yeah. Okay, we're back. We took a smoke break real fast. Had to go fill our lungs with some nicotine goodness. You
need a place where we can smoke while we do this. This would be way more enjoyable if I could
eventual
smoke.
plan is to build the shop out back and put a little recording space in there. But, you know, it's going to take a year or more for me to get that together. What? So
I don't know.
I mean, we'll see if this... what?
Do it at my house. Then we could smoke all day.
Yeah, well, maybe
I'm a piece of shit.
when we do some of these other
I have
shows.
nobody there to bitch at me about smoking in the house.
So he and I, we were just smoking. We were talking about the possibility of this, like doing like kind of a variety show here, where we have these interview type things where we sit down and ask people about all their favorite shit, which will get us off into weird topics, and then maybe do like a news show and some other stuff. So we'll take that into consideration. We'll take suggestions from people. We'll try new shit. We don't care. We're all about trying new stuff. So I've fallen on my face more times than I count. I was a crappy MMA fighter. You know, I was a bouncer.
Dude, your problem at MMA was that by the time you had enough time under your belt to start getting some experience, you were fighting against guys who were 6-8 years younger than you, that were literally living in the fucking gym, wake up every day, spend 8-10 hours a day. All they needed money for was water and protein bars, and you were raising kids.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a single dad and you're working a job or two trying to raise
how are you going to
kids,
compete with that?
And then
do you know what? Because those guys have competed with you fucking hanging trim at that time?
Yeah, well,
no, because you were doing that 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week.
Well, that's the thing. Like, as an amateur, I did really well, or I was above average.
Yeah, the further you progressed, the harder your fights became, because these were guys who had progressed.
Well, and then your first few fights, they give you guys who
are monsters,
chumps too.
Yeah, you get other guys who are new.
So you walk through them, and then other guys who are new don't want to fight you. So then the only experienced guys will fight you, and then you're fighting, guys who are spending all their time in the gym, who don't have kids and stuff. But beyond that, anyway. Yeah. So point being, tried a lot of different stuff.
Well, you said you're a failed MMA fighter, and I think that you didn't. Your lifestyle did not allow.
Yeah, and that's true. And, it's like the injury I had to my elbow, and never really allowed myself to recoup from that. And that took a lot of my confidence in the cage out, too. So that made it harder. But, that's one of those. I want to get back into jiu-jitsu just as I always wanted to get belted and never really did. Only just, trained with some really high-level jiu-jitsu guys, but only just for the cage specifically.
I'm afraid of jiu-jitsu now because of my back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of this.
Yeah, you do have a rough back.
Yeah.
So anyways, before we took our smoke break, you were talking about you went to a meeting. What kind of meeting did you go to?
It was an AA meeting. Actually. Yeah.
So that's so what, you've been sober like 5 years this July, or
5 years in July?
Yeah,
5 years. I mean, we try not to count up. So what are you saying? 4 years and
10 months, or
9 or 10 months?
Yeah, 9 months, whatever.
Something, right?
So why did you decide to get sober?
Oh man, I was actually thinking about that moment in time when I got sober, actually, today, and it was like my life was coming apart again, which that whole alcoholic mentality is, I couldn't marry fucking June Cleaver. If I'd married June Cleaver, my life would have been hell.
What fun would that be?
Well, she wouldn't have put up with me strolling in it.
Yeah.
The first time I came in at 3 o'clock in the morning drunk, 4 in the morning drunk, she has no idea where I've been. I refused to answer my phone. She would have been like, no, I'm not living like this, So you get with somebody who also fucks shit up, so that both of you are constantly fucking shit up. So you get to point your finger at the other one, and you don't feel like the bad guy all the time. So it leads to really poor decision making in relationships, and your pool is limited also to women who don't make good decisions, because any woman making a good decision would never have dated me on the long term the way I behaved for a lot of years, And
it's like I said with my wife. If she would have met me 5 years before, I wouldn't have worked out, because you have to be ready for that person.
Absolutely, the girl I'm dating now would never have dated me then.
Yeah,
she'd have been like, "What the fuck? Get the fuck out of here! Go get your shit together."
You gotta be in the right place for the right opportunities when they happen,
right?
Whether it's dating or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there are women that I have been attracted to that now, in hindsight, it's like, good God, I'm glad I didn't end up with her. She's a fucking nightmare, Right. But I married a couple of women who were in the middle of their tough shit too,
Well, you only married once though, right?
Oh, I married one. Yeah, I married once. I had a 9-year relationship.
Right. We might as well have been married.
Right. Exactly. It lasted longer than my marriage.
Right. That has yet to be seen, right?
What's that? Yeah, true. Right. That is very true. We're not going to go into details on that, but anybody knows me knows what he's talking about. So, she was, my wife was leaving. She was on the way out. Month and a half she'd been leaving. She was, packing more shit, taking more shit off the walls. It was a really unhappy place to be. But, again, I take complete responsibility for the fact that it was my poor decision making that led me to that point in my life where I'm standing there with everything like that was going on. So I'd already had 2 DUIs before that. I'd been arrested for a public intox charge. But I mean, you look at that shit, and those were like all situations that ended up in probation and community service and lawyer fees and all that stuff. And yeah, those things sucked, but they're more just benchmarks. The real shitty part about being a fucking alcoholic was the inability to examine my behavior and try to become a better person, and actually, I did the right things as far as like I didn't take money from people and I didn't steal from people, and but I was still doing shit that was irresponsible and putting the lives and well-being of the people around me in jeopardy all the time. So, and if I was making good decisions, I wouldn't have allowed myself to continue with that behavior.
Yeah.
So to be able to actively live as an alcoholic or an addict, your life has to be chaotic and it has to be full of lies, you know? So that was the hell, you know? The hell was the chaos, the lies, the bullshit. But I use these arrests as benchmarks, you know? So wife is leaving. I decide at a 3rd of July party, then I'm going to go to a 3rd of July party, and I'm gonna try really hard to pick up a girl at this party. And you know, my problem is that every single time that I started drinking, I have no off switch.
Right.
I would drink and drink and drink, and then eventually it would get to before long, it would get to the point where there wasn't even a thought about maybe I shouldn't have another beer. It was, where's my other beer? Where's another beer? Where's the next beer? You know, it wasn't even the thought, like, you know, beforehand it was like, okay, I'm going to be cool tonight, and I'm only going to drink 8 beers, you know. I'm going to be mellow.
Only 8.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to be nice and mellow, and that was bullshit, you know. I would have no say-so over how many drinks I end up having. So I go to this party, I get really fucked up, I start offending everybody. I eventually get to a blackout stage. There's or what you call a brownout. Like, there are periods where I don't remember, and then there are periods I vaguely remember, like just flashes of, like, almost like a dream. And then, so end up in a fight with a bunch of guys, end up in my truck, and then they're like trying to rip the windows out of my truck and shit, and tearing my antenna off and all that stuff. So I take off, and the owner at the party, who used to be a friend of mine, who was a friend of mine at the time, beforehand, he invited me to the party. It was his house. Had called the police and told them there was a drunk driver on the road, and described my vehicle and had me arrested. And I got to see all the transcripts of the phone calls afterward, you know, during the you know, presentation phase.
Right.
So I'm sitting there in a private cell in Marion County, because every single time I went to lock up, I got a private cell because I was a belligerent asshole. And that's what they do. They lock you in a private cell until you can chill the fuck out, and then you have to wait until you have your chill down period before they'll even start to process you. So then it takes longer for you to get out. So, so I'm sitting there in the private cell, and I'm just thinking, like, you know, I'd already been through this song and dance 3 times before. I knew it was going to be even worse this time because it was my 3rd one in the course of 10 years, which made it a felony. And so I'm just there was no way sitting there. I was just like, there's no way I can do this again. There's no way I can go through the whole thing. There's no way I can borrow money from mom to pay for the attorney. There's no way I can live without a fucking driver's license trying to run a business. There's no way I can do all these things that seem impossible, you know. And I really just wanted to fucking end it, you know.
Yeah.
My plan was more, you know, I'm looking around. I looked around the room to see if there was a sharp corner I could hang a shirt on, you know. And then my plan was to get out of there and just off myself so I didn't have to go through the fucking misery again, you know. And then, you know, I decided, my sister Julie was there for me, and she had been sober for 6 years at the time, and I decided to try something I had never tried before, which was listening to somebody else, you know, taking some suggestion, learning from other people's mistakes. I think that is maturity versus immaturity. A mature person can look around them and see the results that other people are getting and say, I am very similar to these other people. I will probably get similar results. Immature people are like, I'm fucking 10 feet tall, bulletproof, fucking cock strong. I can do anything. You're an idiot because you couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm smarter than you, and I'm faster than you, and I'm stronger than you, and I'm going to fucking figure this shit out. And that's that stubbornness of youth, you know, that unfortunately some of us drag into the later years of life. And, you know, it makes for a lot of chaos and problems and, again, poor decision making. And so I got into recovery. I followed the suggestion of going to a meeting every single day, and I've tried to keep that up ever since. I don't do really well at it, but I would say these days I probably average, you know, 5 meetings a week.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And
I mean, that they say 90 meetings in 90 days when you start, right?
Right,
That's the way to get it.
Yeah, but you know, the thinking around, fortunately, the group that I got tied into is, then you do that again, and you do that every 90 days.
Yeah,
and,
so just stay at it.
Yeah, and some people can get away with fewer meetings, but the guys that, you know, one of the common phrases we use is look around for people who have what you want and then do what they do.
Yeah.
You know, so I see a lot of guys who are. And when I'm talking about looking around at what people, you know, find people who have what you want, I'm not talking about their fucking car or their girl or their houses, which in most people's cases is better than it was before they got sober, almost every time. But that's not what we're looking at. You know, we're looking at people who are happy in the face of everyday life and everyday struggle, who handle things with some grace and go through life in a comfortable manner, comfortable in their own skin and comfortable with who they are. And then those are the guys that I look up to. I don't care what car they drive. I look up to them because that's something I've never known, is some mental peace, you know, and a break from the chaos. And so I started doing what they do, and the results are amazing. I've been around there for a while now, and I go to a lot of meetings, and I've met a lot of guys, and I can literally say there is not one guy in those rooms that isn't happier and wealthier and has better, healthier relationships than he did the day he walked in the door. If they actually show up and do the work.
Right. Well, I mean, you get some level of accountability with everybody there. You get, you know, people who are going to check up on you and you check up on them.
Yeah.
Then it's, you know, you know, I mean, it gives you a reason not to drink even if you got to the point where you wanted to. Or whatever,
that does help. I mean, all your
so,
friends being sober and wanting to kind of live up that's a small part of that social factor, though. But the social factor is unity is one of the all recovery, or basically all recovery coins. I've seen some like special made ones that don't have it on it, but basically all recovery coins on one side of the coin have a triangle, and it says service, unity, recovery.
Yeah.
So we do the work for recovery. That's an essential part, which is working in the book. Going to meetings, you know, talking about it with other alcoholics. Unity is us working together on those things, and service is me putting in the time and me getting outside of myself and me doing what I need to do to give back to something that is essentially free.
Yeah.
And then, you know, at a point it goes far beyond just not drinking anymore. You know, if they could have somehow taught me to just stop drinking, no matter what, under any circumstances, no matter how miserable I was, to just put the drink down, but still stay in the same emotional state that I was, and same perception of the world, and same approach to life, and same inability to accept my circumstances, and all this stuff, this petty, immature bullshit, you know, I would have blown my fucking brains out by now.
Yeah.
Well,
know? I mean, the reason all that was occurring was because your drinking didn't allow you to deal with the things.
Well, and it feeds itself, you know, it keeps on piling on itself. You know, the drinking is an escape. It's a way for me to get a little bit of peace and for me to unwind and not have to be me, really, is the point. When you drank, like, the way that I drank was usually an attempt to try to escape having to be me. You know, having to be in my own head and with my own bullshit. And so I drink to get through today instead of paying that bill or building a healthy relationship with my wife, or finding a wife who's capable of building a healthy relationship, or whatever. I just put it off for another day, and another day, and another day, and another day, and then eventually, you're just completely piled down emotionally, and you somebody needs. I always say about AA that it's like fake maturity.
Yeah.
You know, if I follow the 12 steps and I follow the principles, if I do the things, I can behave like a whole mature person, even though that's not my go-to behavior, you know, and then eventually it does become my go-to behavior. But for a person who's never even looked at it that way, who never even thought to examine life from that perspective, to look away from what am I getting, what's for me, how is my shit working out, how do I feel today, what's going on with my shit, and I'm self-centered and have no control over my environment. Instead of accepting the fact that I have no control over my environment, I keep on trying to exercise different ways to gain control over my environment. So, it's a whole different way of looking at life, of approaching life, of perceiving people, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're just rewiring yourself. You're rewiring your life. You know, and that's a part of it too, though. When you do the 90 meetings in 90 days, and then you start working the 12 steps, and you start, like you were saying, doing what these other guys are doing, you're more conscientious and self-aware about all of your behavior.
Oh yeah.
And that makes you more successful at everything that you do because you're putting a level of attention into it that you weren't able to before because you were caught up in your own fear of failure.
Oh yeah, fear's
whatever,
a big one.
Whatever it is that
fear drives most of my shitty behavior.
Yeah,
one way or another.
You know, one of the things you said once to me, when we were talking, is that fear is like the base emotion that everything else kind of comes from. I mean, it's
it can be perceived that way, and I'm not sure. I'm kind of on the fence, but I do know, or I do feel like fear is one of our two core emotions, but almost all my other ones, you know,
I don't even know if
anger and envy and all that stuff. Like anger, like I find anger, and from the perspective before, I look at anger as your problem.
Yeah.
If I'm mad at you, it's because there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, you did something.
In the big book, it tells me that if I'm disturbed, it's a spiritual axiom. It says, which spirituality, I don't like using that word because it has a connotation, but spirituality is me. Yeah. You know, so it's not about God; it's about me.
Right.
In the definition of spirituality, most definitions of spirituality, the word God doesn't even come up, or it's not in direct context about what the actual effort is for. So, it's a spiritual axiom that when I am disturbed, there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
No matter what you did, that's if you punch me in the mouth. If I'm disturbed by it, that's something wrong with me because I'm allowing myself to be disturbed by the actions of somebody else, something that's out of my control.
Right.
So if my emotions and my feelings
punch them in the mouth, though, either. If somebody punches you in the mouth.
I mean, you know, there's self-preservation. You know, I'm still an animal. You know, I still want to live. You know, so, but yeah, exactly. But that's still on me. Whatever my reaction is.
Yeah, it's not that. It's that you have a choice in how you react.
Yeah, I used to have a resentment against people who sagged their pants.
It's not that there's anything wrong with the. It's not that there's anything wrong with the reaction. It's that in every situation you have a choice in how you react or whether you react, which is in itself a reaction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know.
But I have to condition myself for new types of reactions. But I have to start looking at them from the right angle instead of looking at it as there's something wrong with you because you made a mistake and you made me mad.
Well, don't point at me.
Now, I've been mad at you a lot of times.
Yeah, well, you're bad.
Not as much recently though.
It's usually
we get along pretty well now.
It's usually your problem.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. So, and that's how I look at it.
I'm glad we fleshed this out finally. We got it out. Figured it out. All the times you've been mad at me was because you're an asshole.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with me.
No shit.
Well, I mean, maybe something to do with me, but not really.
So yeah, it's that I think that change in perspective is a really drastic one. You know, I think that starting to take full responsibility for my own behavior, and then part of that is like setting myself up in life and my situations by being honest and straightforward and having healthy relationships with people and doing the things that I need to do to make sure that my feelings are heard and that I'm a whole person in this situation, and you know. And I'm bringing what I can to the table to make it healthy, and refusing to engage in relationships that aren't healthy, that don't fit into that. You know, that's all these little tweaks to the ways that we perceive things and handle things is the difference between, you know, I'll show you a fucking homeless man, you can't slap the smile off his face, and I'll show you there'll be a millionaire sometime in the next week commit suicide, you know, or drug overdose, maybe not die, but or has a major alcohol or drug problem existing, and you know, the things that we tend to focus on aren't really the elements of happiness. And the thing that I find in there is I get the experience of a bunch of people that show me what that looks like. And what that usually looks like is doing my best today, doing no harm, trying to be as helpful as I can to other people when it's reasonable, and mainly the big one is not drinking. Then I don't set myself up in this position where I have to feel like a piece of shit. Right. I have a conscience. I always had a conscience. And when you ignore your conscience for fucking 20 plus years, all that ends up doing is making you fucking hate yourself. Right. Because then you know what's right, and you're looking at yourself like everything about you is so wrong, you know. Yeah. So, you know, part of self-esteem is doing esteemable acts. So I have to behave in a way that warrants me feeling good about me.
So what you're saying is that you're trying to be somebody that you like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I want to have a life that I wouldn't trade a drink for.
Yeah, not only that, but somebody that you care about enough to not put them in a shitty position.
Exactly.
Well, there you go. Fuck,
right.
man. That's life lessons right there.
Yeah, but that takes time to beat out of somebody.
And it's amazing, though, is how many of these self-help type people and everything, that's all the same thing. Or it all comes down to that, basically.
Yeah.
So, and that's... You don't have to be a drunk. A lot of people are addicted to pity or feeling bad for themselves.
God.
Whatever it is.
Don't get me started on the victim pie, dude.
Yeah, but, whatever it is, a lot of us are addicted to that. So, but it's been really cool to see your life transform, over the last several years, And, I had a lot of issues around, the same, before that and stuff when I had my divorce and, a few years before that, and we had a lot of crazy shit together.
Yeah, we got into some shit.
Yeah, but, for me, it was, I was just in a real, I don't know, kind of in that type of relationship where you're two people who just are making the worst for each other. And once I got separated from that, it seemed like I was I had an initial bout of depression that lasted a while, but was able to kind of get out of it. And, so it's been good because we've been able to kind of get our shit straight separately in different ways, but at the same time. And, like you said, we worked together for a while in the business, and so I got sick of remodeling, so I got out of that stuff totally, and now I don't know. I don't want to talk about my current job, so.
You don't want to talk about your current job?
No, I like my current job. It's just, it's different, a different kind of thing, but I don't know. It's a job. I like working. I like building cool things.
That's why I thought when you described this job to me, I thought it was a good fit for you because you get to do you get to solve problems, you get to figure things out, and I know that that's one of your strong suits and it's something you enjoy. So, and that's a lot. A lot about how I feel about my job. Two people that live in similar neighborhoods, drive similar cars, have similar family shapes and sizes, can work at the same place, and one person's like, hey, I'm here at work and I'm fucking getting my shit done and they're going to give me a paycheck for this shit at the end of the week. And the other motherfucker's like, oh, fuck, this sucks. Oh, look at that bitch. I mean, it's like the circumstances I'm in don't matter nearly as much as my perception of the circumstances I'm in.
Everybody knows somebody who's always never
never happy.
Yeah, and I find the good stuff about my job, but in reality, I'm not the type of person who cares to have a job.
Yeah.
And it's not about the work. I love doing work. I like building stuff. If I wasn't doing it, if I had all the money I wanted and all the free time I wanted, I'd be hunting and I'd be building furniture and give it away to people if I couldn't sell it. But, so I like working. I just don't, it's hard to get excited about somebody else's dreams.
Yeah.
For me, especially when, cause I'm really am stumped on the creativity end, and I like the design aspect of furniture and stuff as much as building stuff.
Yeah.
So, but now I build stuff for trade shows, and so it's cool, but it's you're building stuff for advertising to other, so it's just a totally different type of, work. So,
right.
But whatever, it's still pretty cool though, and people really get excited about it. The customers get really excited about the stuff when it's good.
And that's a big part of my job too. Yeah. Once I'm finished with the house, I never get to walk back in it again most of the time, unless they call me back for work. But usually when I'm finished with the house and I walk out, they're the ones that have to live with it, and them being excited and when people say stuff like, I can't believe that this bathroom is in my house.
Yeah.
And, this is amazing. And this is the nicest bathroom I've ever seen. And tonight I'm going to take a shower in it.
Yeah. And then you go to a hotel with a real nice bathroom and be like, shit, I should have done that.
Yeah. That is, it's a great feeling.
Great. So back to the drinking. What was your, this is going to sound total asshole after the whole thing. What was your favorite part about drinking?
Probably being fucked up.
Yeah.
I enjoyed being fucked up. I enjoyed not having to be me.
Yeah.
I got to be like this super outgoing. Growing up, I
occasionally aggressive.
Yeah, occasionally aggressive. Well,
you were probably pretty reserved as a kid.
Yeah.
So, you were loud with a small group of people, but it was real weird about meeting.
Yeah,
new people and stuff.
I'm like and I've seen this term get kicked around, and I hate to stamp my own forehead, but it's this idea of an extroverted introvert, like I still, even when I get to relax and just be me entirely, there's still this little voice in the back of my head that's like, picking myself apart, that was stupid, or why'd you say that, or why'd you do that, but then when I'm in a situation where I'm not entirely comfortable, I like my ability to just let go and be myself sometimes is completely turned off. And then, there's this part of me that just wants to sit at home and not interact with anybody a lot of the time. But then once I do get out with people and spend time with people that I care about, I love it. I enjoy it. But like, I'm still sitting at home beforehand, like, oh God, I just don't want to. The thought of having to interact with people sucks a lot more than the reality of interacting with people. And for some reason, that's something that's kind of always stuck with me. And so initially drinking was great because I got to be closer to the guy that I wish I was, which was a guy who could say what he was thinking and stand up for himself and be confident. And somewhere along the line, I started to gain some of that in real life, but then the drinking became more of a, I think it was an escape, just from everyday life, from the whole thing. And I mean, I like getting fucked up.
So if getting fucked up is your favorite part of drinking?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I like the girls too. I was really confident with the ladies. Yeah, I did okay with the ladies. When
That
I was
helped.
drinking. I actually did. But the odd part is I actually did better with the ladies after I got sober than I ever did when I was drinking.
Well, then you're a more attractive partner.
I banged way more chicks sober than I ever banged drunk. Yeah, which is crazy. So, because I thought, and the guy brought up in a meeting one time, I was about probably 6 months sober, and this guy was just getting sober, and he was like, I've never been able to talk to a woman sober before. And he's like, I am scared to death that my sex life is over. I'm like, bro, I'm telling you, you'll gain some confidence in yourself in this thing, and you'll be able to find a real identity that you can actually work with. And it's, you're right. It is much different, because then I'm picking up a barfly where there's an initial physical attraction. Don't know anything else about the other person. One of the guys that works for me the other night told me something funny. He's like, oh man, this girl texted me today and said she liked me, And he was telling me about how they'd gone out last week and had sex. And I'm like, so you guys fucked first, and then you found out that she liked you, But that's that whole, just fucking everybody mentality, And but now I'm sober. I'm actually looking at people's qualities and who they are and what type of person they are, and like, is this person beneficial to me and my children? Not is am I attracted to this person? Right, exactly. Is it going to be crazy? You know? And
we're gonna make some bad decisions.
Terrible.
Get a finger stuck in somebody's
over and
butthole.
Over. Yeah, no shit. Exactly.
I mean, one can only hope.
So, so that part changed, but it was a little bit, things were a little more wild back then, obviously.
Yeah.
So the party aspect was fun. The being fucked up part was what I was after, I think. Ultimately, I can say it was about this, and these things might have been the little cues that told me it was okay to drink again. That I would use to convince myself it was okay to drink again. All these little excuses, and I feel, and blah 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 bullshit. But which are really just lies I tell myself to ultimately get myself what I want. I do the same thing with cigarettes now. You just tell these little lies to get one more in you, and then you just kind of forget about it for a while, and then you feel guilty about it again. But then you tell yourself lies to keep it going for a little bit longer, and that's exactly what addicts and alcoholics do. Where was I going with that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It was just, all right, cool. So we like getting fucked up.
My favorite part of drinking. Yeah,
you like getting fucked up.
Yeah,
I don't know where. Yeah, I was just wanting to know what your favorite part of drinking was. Yeah. Getting fucked up. So getting fucked up was fun. The girls were fun.
Yeah. But
then you found you could get girls sober.
Yes.
Too.
Right.
Who might like suck your penis in the parking lot of Home Depot or something?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, stuff like that.
Allegedly,
not that specifically.
Allegedly, possibly.
Yes.
Right.
Allegedly, possibly.
Allegedly, possibly.
Right. I've found that women our age don't have to be fucked up to be crazy.
Wow. You don't say. So a whole life of experiences is enough to drive you a little loco, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yes. the life of dealing with the opposite sex and jobs and struggles of living life that come along. So that's cool. So next question for you. What is your favorite trip that you ever went on?
I would actually... I mean, that's tough. We took a lot of awesome vacations in Mississippi when we were kids. Those were great. Me and the kids and I went to Florida last year. And I chartered a fishing boat for the day. And so me and the 3 kids and the fishing captain, John or something, I believe it was, went out snook fishing.
Right.
And it was fucking amazing. I mean, I got to watch my kids. So we do some fishing, but it's in like little local lakes and stuff like that, and the fishing's never great. We've caught a few nice fish over the years, but the fishing's never awesome. But this was literally every time you cast your line in the water, you got a bite, and like every second or third time you cast your line in the water, you were catching 10 to 12 pound fish, which if you don't know what a snook is, it's kind of like it's
snooky.
It's
Everybody
almost kind of like a smaller
is.
tarpon. It almost kind of looked like they might be closer to related to tarpon, but they're not as big.
Wasn't Snook one of the Jersey girls or something?
Snooky.
Snooky.
Yes, I make fun of my girlfriend all the time and call her Snooky. She's got dark hair and she pronounces some of her words with the whole... She's from Philadelphia, but I contend that Philadelphia and Jersey Shore are the same thing. So only because it pisses her off.
Yeah. Smart man.
Yeah, right, exactly. Actually, we have a really sick, fucked up relationship where we make fun of each other.
That goes totally against the George Carlin. Oh no, he just says always be honest and faithful to the provider of one's nookie, not to. It's okay with insulting them.
Oh, is that right?
right. I believe that's correct.
Well, there
that's
you
okay.
go. Then we nailed it. So, I can do that. I mean, that's how, that's the only way that I've ever learned how to show affection to people, man, is fucking make fun of them, pick on them, and then we laugh at you together.
Yeah, well, it's
fun.
a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We laugh at you together.
Yeah.
Or more aptly, I laugh while you cry inside.
Yeah, but you laugh on the outside, though, so that's
right, as long as everybody...
It feels like fun.
As long as the outward appearance is laughing.
I mean, I make fun of myself as much as I make fun of anybody, so,
well, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I am a pretty easy target.
So is that your favorite trip, the one to Florida? They're getting loud in
possibly.
There. I wonder if it's picking them up on here.
I wonder if they're talking shit about us in there. I guarantee actually that they're talking shit about us.
Yeah, most likely.
So
go.
I took a trip to. North Carolina was really cool. We went to.
What about Minnesota?
Topsail Island. Oh, fucking Minnesota! I didn't even think about that. It wasn't Topsail. Topsail was off the Mississippi coast, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, God, what was the name of that place? It was a little... something Worth Beach. I don't know. It was really nice. It was like an old people community. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So that place was nice. Yeah, fucking Minnesota. Yeah, I didn't even think... I was sitting here thinking about places I've gone. I'm like, man, I've known I've gone more than that. Yeah, Minnesota was amazing, man.
How many times did you go? How many times did you go?
Twice.
Okay. Yeah. I went 3, but...
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, they were pretty cool.
Yeah. It was amazing. I mean, you take all the shit that you need, including, what did we bring? Like 40, 50 pounds of potatoes to get us through the week?
So much shit.
But you have to bring everything that you need for the entire week because there's no grocery store. There's no popping back to somewhere. I mean, it takes you a day to get to somewhere with the means of transportation we had, which was a fucking canoe and our feet. You would paddle across the lake, which sometimes the wind was so bad on the lake you had to go around the edges of the lake because out in the middle you literally could not paddle against the wind. You would move backwards or stand still, paddling your ass off.
Feels real productive.
Yeah, no shit. So you have to paddle across the lake, and then you have to take all of your shit, including your canoes and all of your tents and your stoves to cook and all your fishing gear and potatoes and bait and big tarps to put your, to like hang out under during the week if the weather's bad, or even if it's not bad, get out of the sun.
Shade and shit.
And everything that you need
use it to collect water.
What was it, 8 guys?
I believe that
the last year was 8 guys, I think.
Yeah, I believe it was 8 both the times that you went. I went once with just 4. It was just me and
you and the Fishers,
me
right?
and Roland and Red and Wally.
Oh, right, yeah. Those guys.
Yeah, we can say those names because.
Yeah, those are the Minnesota names, man.
Those are the Minnesota names.
Yeah, everybody had a code name for Minnesota, so you could say, So aliases.
So you could come back and talk about catching Baloo jerking off in the tent, and we weren't busting anybody
right,
out.
exactly. Good old Baloo jerking off in the tent. He was sweating one out.
Yeah, he was.
And now picture this. I don't know, 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid?
Maybe 17.
16,
I don't know.
16. I think he was younger
a long
than that.
time ago.
15, 16-year-old kid, maybe 17. I don't know. About 6'3", 6'4", built exactly like Baloo the bear, and bad job on that motherfucker because he had the opportunity to come up with his own alias and he refused to. So he came up with Baloo because he looked like goddamn Baloo. So
I mean, it seems quite obvious.
that poor motherfucker.
Yeah.
So you could say Baloo was jerking off in the tent and not. Yeah, exactly.
You're not busting anybody out. But
Yeah, exactly.
Unless
But like
Baloo
Baloo-
hears it and gets mad.
Yeah,
In which case, sorry, bro.
Yeah.
It would just
you're bad, dude.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have
But
did that.
those trips
Shouldn't have gotten caught. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody jerks off in the woods, but just don't get caught.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody, but you
Yeah.
know. I mean, I was 16, 17. I'm there for a week. Yeah, I got a little backed up. I had to
See,
make some
I
time.
couldn't do. I was
Well, on the toilet in the
mosquitoes
woods,
are
the
so
mosquitoes
bad.
would eat your ass off.
Yeah,
They would
man.
eat your ass, dude. You had about 30 seconds on that toilet before you were like,
Yeah, you can't be getting your ass eaten or your balls
Get your
by
ass
mosquitoes.
get
Your
ass eaten
salad
in the
tossed
woods.
by a giant mosquito.
God,
This
that's
fucking bear comes
Jesus.
up and licks your nutsack for
we
you.
did have a bear experience up there. We believe
Yeah.
we never actually saw the bear.
That's true.
We never saw the bear. It could have been a lion or a tiger, also.
Right.
So,
Or
but
maybe a giant squirrel.
a giant 800-pound squirrel, possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
But so Adam and I are sitting out by the fire.
It's
and-
red.
God, man,
Fucking Jesus. Get with your
Red and I are sitting around the fire, and we hear something off in the woods. But we're sitting by the fire, so like when you look off in the woods, it looks really dark because your eyes are like. So we're like freaking out, and Adam.
I'm really
Red-
freaking out here, man.
Red picks up one of the logs we'd been sitting on, like this huge log, and we run to the tent. He throws it in the woods, and we dive in the tent. Like that's where we're
I'm
gonna be
gonna
safe.
throw a log at this bear.
Everybody else
that
is
I
asleep.
think is a bear.
And then so Red and I go in there, and we're laying in our sleeping bags, and we can feel something walking. I mean, when there's a fucking big ass something walking around your tent, you can like hear it and feel it. And it's not just. It's not the wind wrestling some shit. You know it's there. And then you could see its nose rubbing against the side of the tent.
Yeah.
And I'm just laying there petrified. I'm dead silent. I don't want to make a fucking noise and freak this thing out. And so then we heard it like messing around down at the waterfront, and then it disappeared.
Yeah.
So giant lion, tiger, bear, squirrel, something.
Yeah.
Huge
And then we
animal.
made the giant spear with the fork at the end of it. That had
Yeah.
the tent spike in
The
it.
Slayer, man.
The Slayer, the bear slayer.
Yeah. I thought that was for the turtles.
I thought, but the original reason for it was to protect from bears.
Yeah.
And then we used it for the turtles.
Well, we never actually got to use it, but
I thought we caught a turtle.
not with that time. You guys
Oh,
you guys caught a couple the first time you went. We never caught any.
Yeah, we caught a couple of giants.
We had a massive. Well, we had a live trap
Yeah.
that was like a metal cage for our fish that we caught the day before
somebody
in
had
case we didn't
left.
catch any more fish.
Someone else had left that cage there.
Oh, was that
We
what it was?
used Yeah.
And yeah, so we're saving the fish that we didn't eat for dinner that day because you have to catch your dinner or you're eating fucking peanut butter and crackers or potatoes by
fuck
themselves
that
and shit.
shit.
So so you catch your dinner every day, but if you have some extra, you throw it in the live well and it stays alive till the next day, and then you cook that the next day. So, but this turtle was so huge it came and was biting holes in the side of the net, the metal cage that the fish were in, and so we had to go to drastic measures to get that motherfucker off of our shit. Beavers got in there too.
Yeah, I remember watching the beaver run off with our fish.
Yeah, they get in there, they open the little flap.
They run off with the stringer.
Yeah.
We had to.
Yeah.
Fucking goddamn beavers.
Yeah, but you're right up there in the thick of it, man.
Yeah.
You would end up on a huge lake. So anyway, we were describing this before, but so you like row across this lake, you pick up all your shit, you carry it, sometimes a couple 100 yards, sometimes a quarter of a mile, half mile. So a couple times longer than that, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was one portage we used that was like a mile each way, just under a mile each direction.
Yeah, so you got to pick up all your shit, you got to carry it a mile, a canoe on your fucking back.
Canoe!
Carry it a mile, then turn around and come back and get more of your shit. And so you got to make 2 or 3 trips to get all your shit to the next lake, load it all up, tie it in your canoe, so if you flip over, everybody doesn't have to starve to death or some shit.
Yeah.
And then canoe across another lake, and then pick up your shit and carry it. And you just get further and further from civilization, and you'd end up on a huge lake. I mean, you know, 100-acre lake, maybe.
Yeah, some of them were pretty big.
Were huge.
Yeah.
And there may be one other group on the other side of the lake, but the lake's so fucking big that you don't even have the time during the week to get over to that other group. And maybe once or twice during the week, you see somebody canoeing by on their way to their campsite or on their way to another lake. And so you're out there in the middle of it with, I mean...
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
It's just you and whatever you brought, man.
So what was what's your favorite fish to catch?
Well, I mean, it's hard to... We ended up catching some like 18 to 20 pound snook, so that was pretty fucking amazing. Those are monsters. But I would have to say, I don't know, I've always enjoyed pan fishing when it's good, like bluegill.
Crappie and shit.
Yeah, crappie. That's fun, but man, nothing beats getting a fucking big bass either, man.
Yeah.
Catching a nice big bass. There's a special kind of thrill to a huge bass. I've never caught a huge one, maybe a 2-pounder once. Oh man, you've seen that picture of that one that I pulled out of that pond up at that park up north. It was, I mean, I didn't have a scale with me. That was every bit of a 5.5-6 pound fish, which is a pretty good sized bass.
I've caught a big catfish.
I think it way bigger than that, but I mean, for me, it was awesome. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, it's hard to say, man. It really depends on the action, you know.
Right.
Anything's fun to catch on a fly rod, though.
Yeah.
You know.
So where's your favorite place that you fished?
Man, we spent so many years fishing in Mississippi, though.
Yeah.
You know,
I always loved it. I
got catch some interesting stuff.
On there. Like that year we got into the school of redfish, and we couldn't keep any of them because they had that slot limit. But man, we were pulling them in nonstop.
Yeah, caught stingrays. My cousin caught a stingray one time, pulled it up on the wall, and started giving birth. And people don't believe that story.
Right.
Like, people are like, "Oh, stingrays don't give live birth." Yeah, I saw it. You know, I watched little baby stingrays coming out of a bigger stingray, so I know it's real. But that was pretty interesting. You never know what you're going to catch. You cast your line out there, and you could catch a bigger variety of fish than what you ever would, you know, anywhere freshwater, especially in Indiana. So that's always fun. That's interesting. But some days at Boundary Waters,
just so everybody here knows, if you are questioning the validity of the stingray, the species does not lay eggs. Stingrays are oviviparous, whatever, bearing live young in litters of 5 to 13. So, bam, motherfuckers!
Right. I've had so many people say, "Oh, that's
Google it,
true."
bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what were you saying? Sorry.
Boundary Waters, Minnesota, when the fishing was good, though, it was amazing.
Oh yeah, we would catch. I still think the best fish I've eaten is the walleye that I caught up in Minnesota.
And when you get into walleye up there, that's so much fun, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You get a real nice size. Like, I've fished for walleye here in Indiana. They say there's a bunch of them in some of these lakes and stuff. I've never caught anything real big. Up there, a 2-foot, 24-inch long walleye is not a rare occurrence.
Yeah,
and they're big fish, nice thick fillets. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. You know, each experience has its own, has its things that make it unique. You know?
Yeah,
it's something I'd like to get to do more of.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite place you visited?
I don't know, man. Aside from what we've already talked about.
Yeah, I mean, is anywhere else in there? You went to Niagara Falls. What did you like that?
Yeah, Niagara Falls was really good. See, you remember my vacations better than I do. Yeah, Niagara Falls.
I remember the story of that guy who went home with and Little Tears.
Yeah,
his roommate.
Crazy Drew, man.
Yeah,
Drew Crazy.
And then his roommate,
Little Tears,
lost his shit.
Yeah, the cop, he threw him out like an angry girlfriend.
Yeah, right.
Like, we were hanging out at the bar, and I wanted to buy some weed off of him, and so we're just hanging out, like, playing pool and shit. And then something happened at the bar. The dude, the one guy told his roommate to fuck off or something. So the guy leaves, and so the dude I was hanging out with, Drew Crazy.
Drew Crazy.
Drew Crazy, yeah, that's what he wrote on the thing when he gave me his number. We were going to hang out again. And so Drew Crazy gets home. We go back to his place so I can buy some weed off of him. And when we pull up, it's like a scorned girlfriend. Yeah. Fucking his roommate is literally crying, sobbing tears, crying, throwing all of his shit out on the lawn.
How could you do this to me?
Yeah, exactly. Throwing all of his shit out on the lawn. And
I'm not good enough for you.
The fucking cops are there.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm over there. So Drew Crazy approaches to talk to the cops and see what's going on. I'm standing like over in the driveway off to the side a little bit. And I just start like snickering. You know, I can't help it. You know, I'm watching a grown man throw his roommate's shit out like, you know, I don't know, like he broke his heart and shit. And, I start snickering, and the guy's like, "Who the fuck are you, man?" You know, and I said, "I'm."
And you're in Canada, right?
Yes, I'm in Canada.
Canadians.
Right.
He's Canadian.
I'm here with this dude. I
don't even know you, dude.
Yeah. So
who the fuck are you?
Yeah, and I didn't realize at the time, but the cops apparently in Canada are much more a lot more laid back than the cops here. So I'm used to cops that are like just looking for an excuse to fucking slam me against the wall and stick their fingers up your ass. You know? So I want nothing to do with that. So I'm like being cool and shit. So then,
do you have any memes in your ass? Bend over, spread them.
So then we go up.
I know you're holding memes, son.
So then he says, he's like, the dude Drew says, I need a minute. You know, I need to get some stuff. You know, and so the cops hold the one dude, Little Tears, and his girlfriend outside while we all go inside. Me and him, and then they have two other roommates. Yeah. And we go upstairs. He fucking walks in there. Tells the cops he needs a minute. The cops fucking walk outside. We're in there all by ourselves. He fucking pops open a beer, hands me a beer, fucking goes back into his room, cuts out a quarter for me, brings it back, hands it to me. Then we just sit there in the living room and bullshit and drink beers until the cops finally come in 15, 20 minutes later. They gave him like 20 minutes. Come back in and they're like, "Look, Little Tears needs to get some sleep." The cops called him fucking Little Tears, the roommate. That's where that name came from. He says, "Little Tears needs to get some sleep. You got what you need." Dude grabs a pillow, walks out. We walk out, and then walk to my hotel room. Yeah. And then by the time I got to my hotel room and we finished smoking a doobie and then going upstairs and waking up my sister and niece and telling them about our crazy ass night, he's got to fucking go to work. Yeah. So he just walks back out with his pillow, walks back home.
He goes back to his house?
Yeah, he had to get his car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't he get his car when
that was
he
my
was there the
experience
night
in Canada.
before? Oh, he was drunk.
Fun. Yes.
Good idea.
That was my experience in Canada.
Yeah, that was
Niagara Falls.
That sounds pretty
And
fun.
the falls were pretty cool, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But not as much fun as your night out drinking.
No, actually, no. No, that was a good one. We had a lot of fun.
Drew.
Yeah, it was a good
Drew Crazy?
Drew Crazy.
Drew Crazy.
Right. Yeah, that was a good one.
Like Drew Carey.
Right.
Only not as well known.
Yeah. And he was a garbage man.
A garbage man.
Yeah.
That sounds, you got to be high to do that job.
Yeah, hell yeah. What the fuck? It's like a painter or drywall guy. If you want to do that shit every day, you better be stoned.
No shit.
So yeah, Canada was fun. Yeah,
that's cool.
That was an interesting place to visit.
Right on.
A lot of interesting shit there. Man, we used to do all those caves and stuff when we were younger.
Yeah.
That stuff's all really interesting.
Me and my family went to Mammoth Cave last summer. Yeah. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
The cave.
Went ziplining too.
Awesome.
It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Pretty expensive though, but it was still fun.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. But it was pretty cool. So, what's your favorite body part?
On me or?
I don't care. You're answering the question.
That's a terrible question.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, obviously it's my dick. Okay. It has to be. What else? If you ask me what body part, you go with? What's the one you can do without? That'd be the last one.
Well, let's be fair. If you didn't like your dick, nobody else would.
I mean, I guess that's
okay. True. Fair enough. You're right. You heard it here, folks. So, okay.
I mean, Brittany's out there. You can ask her.
No, that's cool. We're gonna leave her out of this one.
Are we?
Yeah. So, what's your favorite food?
I'm very meat and potatoes, man. A good steak and a fucking sweet ass loaded baked potato is probably my favorite meal.
Do you have a favorite? You have a favorite restaurant?
I would say one of my favorite things to go out and eat is probably the tenderloin at Sam's.
Sam's Grill.
Yes.
96th Street.
Yep.
Indianapolis.
Amazing.
Go see it. At 96th Street, just a little east of 69.
Just east of 69, yes.
Yeah. If you're in
tenderloin,
Indy, check it out.
I have eaten...
They got a lot of good food. Their clam chowder is excellent as well.
I never get anything but the tenderloin.
They're not paying us for this. We're just saying it.
Right. I eat fucking tenderloins all over town and anywhere I go that has one available, and I think that theirs might be the best in town.
Yeah, they have Indiana's got a weird obsession with tenderloins. I'm not sure why. I mean,
they're fucking amazing.
I know they're fucking
terrible
great.
for you.
They're not great for you.
Intelligent people don't eat fried tenderloins ever, especially not regularly.
Once a month, man. You got to have one once a month.
Oh my god!
I mean, smoked chicken wings are real good, but once in a while, fucking big greasy tenderloins right where it's at.
I will be eating one of those tenderloins today because we've already talked about it.
What's your favorite thing to stick a finger in?
The shocker, man.
The shocker.
Yeah. That's all I got to say.
The shocker.
All my up to pace people will understand. That's an odd question.
Yeah, I know, man.
Do you have any more of these that are like less about wieners and buttholes?
I mean, that just kind of.
Are these just popping off the top of your head?
Yeah, actually, I had a list somewhere and I left it.
Is this a lightning round?
This kind of. So, what's your favorite? What's the favorite vehicle you've had? What's your favorite vehicle? Yeah. This will tell you a lot about a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I've had a few really cool ones, man, but I would say that the most fun to drive was the 1980 Cutlass.
Okay, well, I'm gonna fix that. You had one cool car and a lot of interesting cars, and that one was really fun to drive, but not a cool car.
Man, that car was awesome. What are you talking about?
That car was a fucking hoopty, dude.
Not when I first got it. It was on its way out, though. It was close. But it already had the loose shocks.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a hoopty. Okay. It rides more like a boat than a car.
Now, the Monte Carlo was a nice car when you got it.
Was sweet.
I don't remember how long that lasted. But.
I think I had it for about 6 months before I wiped the side off of it on a barrier.
Yeah, but that was a real nice car. The 85 SS?
87.
87 SS.
It was not an SS. It was the standard body package.
Oh, was it?
It had the 305, yes.
But it had the striping, the pin striping from the SS.
It had the red pin striping, but it didn't have...
And T-tops.
It didn't have any of the body panels shit on it.
And T-tops. It was a badass car.
Yes, that car was so beautiful.
It was pretty nice.
And then I drive up to people on the driver's side, and the driver's side still looked like...
Yeah, but,
perfect.
But were those your? What about the Dodge Ram with the Hemi?
That was a lot of fun to drive, man.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah, that truck. I did love that truck. It was a lot of fun. It was
probably the best thing. Probably the group most thankful for you quitting drinking is cars.
Yeah, no shit, right.
So.
I was hell on vehicles, man.
You beat up some real nice cars.
Oh my god! I
like that Ram when you bought it to work out of, and it was the Ram Sport, a real sharp looking truck.
Yeah.
And black on black.
I wasn't supposed to work out of it originally when I got it.
Yeah.
I had worked at a place that promised me a van, so that was supposed to be my weekend driver.
But the thing is that you did eventually get the van, but the truck didn't last that long.
Well, no, then I had to start working out of it once I lost my job. Remember?
Right.
Yes.
But the fender got dented before that.
Yes. It started with that ding in the fender.
It was a big dent.
It was all downhill from there. And then once you start working out of it, it's like you see every little scratch. You're like, motherfucker.
Right. Eventually, you just have to turn it off.
And then eventually, it's just scratches. You know, it's like you can't identify one from the other.
Your paint job is now scratches.
Especially a black truck.
Yeah.
Don't buy a black truck to work out of.
No.
But
I always like gray.
That truck was fun to drive.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah, that truck was cool. The 85 Cutlass was a pretty sweet car.
Yeah.
It was a hoopty too, though. But it was amazing. That kept me around forever.
That's cool. So what's your favorite sport?
Got to be golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like
For
golf?
Me to play, personally. Golf.
Well, yeah, but do you watch golf too?
I used to when I played a lot.
Do you watch any other sports?
No.
Not
I don't fucking care about professional sports. I think it's fucked up.
Yeah, it's kind of a stupid waste of money and shit.
But see, I watch a lot of movies, and those people get paid a lot of money, but it's a lot different than... it's different.
I don't really think there's a difference. I think it's
the good thing about sport. I support the home team because they bring money to the economy.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Okay.
What people don't realize about economy is
what
people keep on missing is that not only when we supply the public with more money, not only does that money get spent again and again and again. The government gets to tax it again and again and again. When I have extra money in my pocket, I go to a restaurant, I buy food at a restaurant. The restaurant needs more employees. The employees that work there get better pay because the restaurant is more profitable. They make more money. They spend that additional money on goods and services that they wouldn't normally spend them on. That creates fucking jobs. So, I mean, by the time I get my paycheck and I spend it, and then the next person spends it and spends it and spends it, that money's getting taxed on dozens of times throughout the year, because it keeps on recycling itself through the process. So we talk about investing money back into the economy. That money gets returned back to the government multiple times.
Right.
So they put up these smoke screens where they tell you this is what we do and then this is what happens, and that's not it's a defense for
Quit hitting the table.
it's a defense for trickle down economics. That's what it is. Is this whole money only gets spent once thing? No, every penny that they put back in.
So what is
in the hands of normal people?
What does that have to do with golf?
Well, we went there somehow, man.
You just started. You got all upset about professional sports.
Yes.
Then you said professional,
Oh,
and then you're like, "Well, movies are
bloated
different."
capitalism.
And I was like, "No, it's not any different."
Bloated
but
capitalism.
it's still not different. It's
Yeah.
all just a distraction. From
But my
shit.
point is, I enjoy
But I mean,
movies, so I'm okay with
yeah,
it.
and that was
my point.
Yeah, right. So, and
Right,
that's-
but some people enjoy
selective.
sports and they're
But
okay
it's
with
the same thing.
But
right.
my argument against sports isn't actually what I was doing is saying that my argument against sports really isn't a very good one because that money does make it back into the economy.
Yeah,
It gets
but it's
spent.
just like with anything.
I was actually denouncing my own argument, really. Actually,
Right,
so
yeah, just really
thinking
not
out
right.
loud. But
I mean, it's just with the government.
And golf is just
with people's political things in that way. We all just make excuses for the things we want and ignore the part where the eventual outcome if people refuse to do exactly what you want is death when
Yeah.
you involve laws.
yeah, exactly, right.
Regardless of what it is. I mean, if a guy refuses to pay taxes on something that you think you should pay taxes or pay a fee you think you should pay, and then they come to haul his ass off to jail and he refuses to go to jail, they'll probably kill him.
Yeah, I mean, eventually,
Even
yeah.
if it was over a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever. So favorite. So what's that?
golf.
Yeah. So what do you like about
Yeah.
golf?
I like
You like playing with balls.
beating people.
He likes beating people off.
I like being better than people that I know at something.
Jesus
And
Christ.
I love. That's my favorite part of golf is going out and competing against guys who are similarly skilled and winning.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it's your little competitive. It gives you some.
I think that's a natural part of our.
A good area.
Makeup.
Yeah, a good avenue for your.
And it takes some work.
competition.
And so the biggest problem with it is that if you really want to do well, that you have to invest the time and the money.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the time or the money, then there's no substitute for that.
Right.
So I mean, you talk about a quality golfer. Every quality golfer is one way or another, basically every single day, giving some attention to their golf swing.
Yeah.
In some way or another. So, and I don't have that kind of fucking time anymore. But at one point in time, somehow I had the time to obsess over it.
Yeah, I mean, I used to play quite a bit and was pretty decent too, but I'm not like you though. You retain a lot more of the skill through the downtime, whereas
I played so much that
Yeah.
I pretty much have the muscle memory on the actual swing isn't that bad. So
Yeah.
I mean, I get the ball down the fairway and I can get it forward. The accuracy is a problem, and then the short game, obviously, touch is the first thing to go. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's an automatic 20 strokes. I mean, that's 20 strokes. Not being able to hit the ball straight and your short having extra shots on your short game. So that's the difference between where I was shooting mid 70s to where I am shooting mid 90s. Is that short game and then that accuracy. So
right. Well, I mean, I was mid 80s and now I'm 100, or high 90s, 100. Anytime I go,
yeah, which is still better than the average golfer.
Yeah, but it's it's just really aggravating when because I've shot those 70 mid 70 rounds too, but I was to the point where an 82 or 84 was pretty. I could rely on under 85, and then now you go and can't break 100, and you're like, God damn it, dude. Yeah.
Not making good contact is like it's soul crushing.
And then I've had but I just don't play enough, so it's less It's still fun, but. It's fun if I do it a few times a year. It's pretty aggravating, but I'd like to get out more, But same thing, you got to prioritize.
Yeah.
Like now, I've got an opportunity to possibly go skydiving in a few weeks.
Oh my God, I wanted to do that.
So I want to jump on that.
I've been saying that for years, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
My goal was to. I'd never been in a plane up until recently.
Yeah.
And so my goal was the first time I went in a plane to jump out of that motherfucker.
But it didn't work out.
It didn't work out that way. I ended up getting on a plane to go somewhere, and unfortunately, it landed safely.
Yeah. What's your favorite animal?
Dogs, probably.
Dogs.
Yeah, I love my dogs.
What's your favorite animal to eat?
Oh, gotta be a cow. Bacon's pretty awesome.
What's your favorite animal to shoot?
Rabbit hunting's really fun.
So, but
I like small game.
Yeah, you like small game.
Yeah,
you like using the gun.
I'm not allowed to use a gun anymore. So I I would really like to find some good places to try some small game traditional bow hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like what's your so you I guess we could talk a little bit about shooting.
Did we talk about
traditional bow? Not no.
No, we
We
could.
haven't talked about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, we can if we want to. So yeah, we
Your bow's sitting right there.
Yeah. So how'd you get into archery? Or how'd we? Yeah, it's the same feel basically.
I mean, I think we did it a little bit when we were kids, like Boy Scouts and shit like that. But then our dad bought us bows when we were what, 8 and 10, or
it was like
9 and
8
11,
and 10, or 10 or 12, 10 and 12.
Yeah, Josh and I are about 2 years apart. So, and we got our bows at the same time, and then so we started shooting then, and we shot competition and all that stuff, and I always enjoyed it. And then when I was about 20-ish, I think 21, my brother-in-law Rich started making these traditional bows, which are wood riser, wood.
Laminated wood limbs and shit with
and
fiberglass.
And he made me one, and I don't even know what happened to my compound bow. We call those training wheels now. I don't even know what happened to my compound bow. It just disappeared somewhere, and I don't care. I have no interest in it whatsoever. So, in traditional bow, it's we do it like for real. There's no kisser buttons or mechanical rest or adjustable sight of any kind.
Yeah, it's just a bare bow.
It's a bare bow.
Yeah.
It could just as well be a stick with the arrow resting on your finger but there's a little shelf cut into the bow.
Yeah.
To rest the arrow on.
Right.
It's a little bit of they call it moleskin. Is it really moleskin?
No. This is actually just the loop side of Velcro.
Oh, is
what he's using on it. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's real soft and lasts.
I got my own for.
Well, I'm saying that's what Rich, when he builds them, uses. Stick bows.
Stick bows, STIK bows, BOWS.
STIKbows.com. You can get with them. You could order one, get in contact with them.
Custom built wood styles, finish styles, length, draw weight, draw length.
He just made me one last year as zebra wood and gorgeous.
Yeah, he just made me one that's amazing looking too. I mean,
unfortunately, I'm injured right now, so I can't shoot it. But
they're works of art. They're amazing.
I like to call it.
But I mean, the one that I've had since I was 20, so 17, 18 years or some shit, stays strong all the time and still holds the same amount of power that it ever did. It shoots just as fast as it ever did. I mean, it's amazing. So yeah, I love. And that's another thing that I like. I like competing with people. That's one of the things about archery that I really enjoy. But it's fun, Like you and I will go back out in my backyard and we'll pick a tiny spot on the target, and whoever can hit that first, or whoever can hit a certain portion of the target from this spot. Like we play horse kind of, but with a bow and arrow instead of with a basketball and stuff like that. That's my favorite part, when we get out there with multiple people and kind of enjoy it and engage and all that stuff. But I would really love to get into some bird hunting and small game hunting with
that'd be cool.
With a traditional bow. Like find some place you can actually go and put some time in.
That's the thing that the traditional bow has a lot in common with golf, whereas you got to practice constantly. Form is everything, and that's
back to the basics.
Because I've been like last year, right before hunting season, and I wasn't satisfied with my distance shooting. Like, to 20 yards, no problem. I felt confident that I could kill with no problem. But then if I get out to 30 yards or whatever, I'd start falling apart and losing consistency. So
me too.
Then
that's because every little mistake you make.
Right.
But then it's magnified because you don't get as good of a look at the target, so all that stuff just magnifies.
And so, and then in the process of trying to narrow down what the issue was, which I'm almost positive now it's mostly form, not and everything, but I started messing around with the shooting technique and started like doing the face crawl or whatever, and started getting pretty decent results with that. But it's aggravating because it's the same deal. When you find a little problem, you go back trying to fix it, and then you end up having to change things to fix it so that everything works together. It just can become a huge can of worms. And, and then with something as serious as hunting, you're to have an ethical kill, you really need to be shooting at top form all the time. Yeah, so you got to practice a ton.
And it's I think the face walking and string walking shit is really difficult when you're still, no matter what you do, no matter how precise you get from 30 or 35 yards and have all your little pinpoints figured out and your different anchoring points or knocking points figured out and all that shit. If you're walking through the woods and you kick up a rabbit, there's no discussion about where's my second finger touching my. No, it's up and out. I mean, so it's you still have to revert right back to instinct shooting.
Right, exactly, and that's the thing. You're gonna have to. It's all a combination.
Yeah,
any type of shooting with the traditional.
Well, you hear a lot of guys say that they instinct shoot when they hunt, and they do some kind of a gap shooting method when they're
target shooting or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something else I'd like to do. If I could get to where I can shoot again this year and whatever, is get into some more competition type shooting, some target shooting. I tried to find.
Man, it's hard.
It's really hard
to find. Yeah. I found a place out on the west side, and I went out there, and it was all compound bow shooters.
Yeah.
And not shit talking to anybody, but I'm a fucking. I like have a country boy mentality, but I present myself as a city boy, So I walk out there and it's all a bunch of guys in camouflage and very stereotypical, I know, but it's true. Guys in camouflage, dipping the lip, nice guys. They were nice, and they all shot compound bow, and I'm walking out there with a traditional bow, so I look like to them I look like some fucking yuppie dickhead who fucking stumbled upon this thing and wants to try it out, probably, and you could tell it was there was a bit of a, even though they were nice and cordial, there was a bit of a, you kind of don't fit into, well, you don't fit into our, which, in all honesty, if we'd stopped and started having a conversation, a lot of those guys probably have similar jobs to me and similar upbringings to me and similar experiences, but it was,
I mean, it
just wasn't my thing.
Well, and it's hard.
Very country.
We used to shoot the compound bows all the time and shoot them in the competitions and stuff, and it's just a lot different. It's completely different than shooting a traditional bow, really.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
competition shooting with the traditional bow is so much fun.
Yeah,
it is so awesome.
But it's the same deal, though, either way. Like, even with a compound bow, you have pins on it to sight it in, but if you're not shooting every day, you're not going to shoot accurately with it.
I mean, the compound, though, if you have pins that are set up for you can go out and hit a target. You may not be accurate, but you can go out and hit a target.
Right.
With the traditional bow...
Yeah, if you're not practicing all the time, you suck.
Yeah. Well, and people who first pick it up, it's really difficult. When I've introduced a bunch of people to it, and when people first pick it up, their natural inclination is to kind of give into the bow and not draw it all the way and not have a good firm anchor, and it's a very kind of timid process.
Yeah, everybody wants to kind of pull it out with their front hand and just let their other hand go with it.
Yeah, and their front hand or their back hand kind of stays in front of them, it's something you gotta learn some technique to even be able to get started.
But it's just like a golf swing,
Oh God! Watching people golf for the first time,
but it's the same thing though. Until
the worst,
until you figure out how to make contact with the ball, I can't really help you.
Right?
Beyond, I can't. I mean, I can tell you the important things to keep your head down and to try to make the swing one consistent motion, not to stop and be herky jerky with it, and don't move your shoulders. I can tell you that as a basis and get you to swing at the ball.
Yeah.
And once you start striking the ball, then we can go from there.
Yeah.
But until you can strike the ball, until you can keep your head down and commit to hitting that ball and not be afraid of the ground, I can't do that for you. And it's the same with the bow. Until you can commit to drawing to the same spot every time and trying to repeat the same things the same mechanics over and over, I can't help you with your aiming or anything, because you're not if you get an aiming method, but you're not drawing to the same spot every time, your aiming method is going to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're aiming from different spots.
Right.
With a gun or a crossbow or a compound bow, the compound bow stops in one spot. The gun the barrel is straight. The sights are lined up always. Those things are totally different because they're set up and they're ready to go. It's more of a free form type of an art, like a baseball bat, swinging a baseball bat or a golf club or any of that. Yeah. There's so many different variables with every shot that you have to eliminate them by getting the mechanics right.
To
make it easier.
Yeah, and in that sense, golf and archery are absolutely really similar with the whole. You have to do the exact same thing every single time to be able to get a consistent result.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a gun that's the sights are completely fucked. I don't care if the sights are completely fucked on a gun. All I have to do is
compensate for it.
Yeah, I have to be able to aim consistently, and then I can compensate. But just like in golf, if I'm not making consistent contact and I'm not, I have a good follow through, and my move is different every time, then how do I say, oh, okay, so only when you swing the club way to the inside or whatever, you have to do this, or you have to, you have to get, you got to have something to build off of. You got to have a baseline. It can't just be. You can give people tips all day long, but if they're not making clean contact with the ball, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
I can have an otherwise perfect swing, but it's and that's part of what I like about it too. I like that regimented. I have to practice, and I have to do it over and over and over and over again. That I kind of enjoy. I enjoy watching myself kind of progress on the long term.
Yeah.
So, I think those similarities are what draw me to both of those sports.
Yeah. That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, real cool. So, what's your favorite thing about me?
What's my favorite thing about you?
Yeah, I might as well ask you since you're my brother.
You're incredibly loyal to me. You've always been,
even though you're a douche.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not a douche. He's a good guy. He's always looked out.
But do you know what the truth is? That and the truth, I think, this is absolutely true for us. Is I will shit talk you to your face all day long.
Yeah.
But you better know for a fact that when I leave here, I'm not going to say anything bad about you.
Yeah,
and if you do something that pisses me off, I might vent about it to somebody who knows both of us and knows I'm just bitching. But I would never say a bad thing about you.
Yeah,
to
totally.
people, to try and spread something about you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's the same way.
Yeah,
it goes
totally.
the other way.
It goes both ways.
And
So
you've stuck up for me in times when you knew I was wrong.
Yeah.
And that says a lot.
So
I appreciate that.
So what's your favorite ice cream?
My favorite ice cream?
Yeah. Don't you say Napolitano or I'll fucking kick you in your teeth.
No.
Okay, good.
I don't know that I have a favorite anymore, man. I haven't eaten ice cream in a long time. I usually get the ones with the chunks of candy bar in it, and that's just because I'm a fatty. And so
how is that bad?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like
it's just like a blizzard. Which blizzard do you want? Any of them with fucking chocolate? I don't care. They're all the same.
Yeah. Just grind some Snickers
make
up
sure
and some
it's
ice
chocolate
cream.
ice cream in with chocolate inside of it. You son of a bitches.
You son of a bitches. You son of a bitches.
You son of right. Sorry, son of a bitches. Get the good jams. What's your favorite beverage?
Oh man.
Since you don't drink booze anymore.
Monster Javas, man.
Monster Javas. The Loca Mocha.
Loca Mocha.
Mocha Mocha.
That's an actual problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to replace one with another, right?
Right. Yeah. This one. When I drink too many mochas, though, I don't. Try to fuck your wife and then drive through your front door.
Yeah.
So it's a reasonable trade. It's
yeah.
Okay. One thing at a time.
Right.
We'll take off the big ones first.
So okay, man. So we've covered a lot. We don't have to do everything in one time.
Yeah, we'll definitely get another chance to do this.
Yeah. So what's your favorite thing?
My favorite thing, it's got to be being a dad.
And that, my friends, concludes the first episode of everyone's favorite show.